pass it around. Appreciate you doing that as well. For those of you in the chat, and a good day to all of you guys and gals, for that matter. I shouldn't assume as much. We have plenty of women who listen to this show. And away we go. Always hard to do the show after the season concludes. Not hard to do the show, just tough topic. It's funny. I don't know about you, Tom, but right after the disaster of a first inning occurred for Wes Mendez, I thought back to Friday night. I kept going back to Friday night, and I thought, goodness gracious, if you win that game, obviously Saturday is the game that would have closed things out, but alas, you find yourself in this position. And what is hard to do in a game that plays out the way in which this one did, with your starter that you're depending on obviously had a rough go. Link made some sort of reference to him not feeling well. I don't want to hear all that nonsense. But the bottom line is, when he gets pasted, there's not a lot of analysis necessary. You don't have to break anything down. You give up 7 runs in the first. 6 of them, I believe, with 2 outs. So if you turn the double play, which is not anybody's fault, but if you turn that double play, you're probably in good shape.
It's lost into the ether of anonymity, but that's actually a nice play by Lodi's, because that was a wicked hop on the turf infield. Yeah.
But if you could have turned that and got him off the mound and like, hey, yo, you got anything? Maybe been able to assess it. Fastball velocity was down and he didn't have a second pitch. Now, when you get to this level and you're playing a team as talented as Oregon State, and they rolled out their entire right-handed lineup, and you have a one-pitch pitcher whose velo, as the kids say, isn't doing anything. He's not running it past people. And they don't have to wait on a secondary pitch. They don't have to look out for or respect a secondary pitch. You get what you got. You get kids who have no postseason at bats hitting home runs. You get kids that are hitting 190 whatever hitting home runs. It's because they're batting practice fastballs and there's not anything off of it. So you got a problem on your hands there, and it served to be a problem. I know we end up bashing the ball ourselves, and Link's not wrong when he says after the game they left a lot of guys out there. We out-hit Oregon State in this game. You scored 10 runs. You left the bases loaded twice. You have chances for the big inning, and you just missed it. You just missed it a couple of times. The Lodi's ball that he just misses hitting out of the park, if that goes out of the park, this is an entirely new game, and we might still be playing. Who knows? But it didn't. And you end up burying yourself in a way that you had to have the big inning, and you needed that Katie bar the door. Oh my God, the Noles just scored 8 kind of inning. They gave themselves chances. They scored runs, but they couldn't get the one big inning that could have made this a different game. And in the end, they lose 14-10. And now what you do is you go through the process of, all right, so they've gone to the College World Series a year ago, one of the last 4 teams standing. They're 1 win away from going back to the College World Series. The program is in good standing. It's in a good place where we should believe, I think, anyhow, that annually at the end of the year, you're going to be in contention for something. And then we'll judge the season based on that standard again. That's the way it always was around here. Whether or not you can get back to Omaha ultimately is the goal, to get there and win it, obviously. But you got to get there first. And so you try to set yourself up to be in a position to annually make a run at that. They've got to do a bunch of portaling here. When you look at what they're losing, but they also have an awful lot coming back that they're going to be excited about. I'll be interested to see, they get the Beard kid, the left-handed pitcher in the portal. We've got plenty of left-handed pitchers. I'd like to see a righty somewhere out there. It would have been nice had they had the services of Evan Crest. You look back on that now with the injury. That ended up hurting them, throwing the mix The kid, the right-hander that hasn't pitched in 15 months or 18
Leiter.
months. Yeah. So Leiter, the frustration there is I think they really believed that at some point along the way, because they invested in him, that they were going to get him back. They never did. That's a missed opportunity to replace him on the roster, which I bet they have regrets about. My thought is that they probably do.
I think the Crest injury single-handedly kept them from being a top 4 national seed because it slots guys into a bullpen role once you get into winning time. I think that changes drastically everything about your usage of your pitchers during the midweeks, all of it. We knew in the moment that it was significant, but when Mendez shoved 2 weeks ago, you thought, well, okay, look, he arrived at just the right time, but yesterday's start was the antithesis of the Mississippi State start. So now you're kind of caught in between, whereas Vellini, when we last left you on these airwaves, had not been sharp for the better part of 6 weeks and definitely wasn't sharp for the last month. But then he was every bit what the scouting report was that we got from Joe Freeman, which is soft tossing lefties that are crafty and move the ball in and out of the strike zone, change the eye level. Essentially, those cagey left-handed pitchers are the ones that give Oregon State the most trouble, and he did. He lived right up to the billing. So if you get Vellini and Mendez back, I think a week ago I would have said, well, Mendez is definitely your Friday guy. Now, as we sit here today, I'm thinking that Vellini is your Friday guy and Mendez is probably pitcher number 2 in the rotation. But I don't think the roster overhaul this year, I just sounded like Link there, is quite on the level of what it was 12 months ago. You don't need to do that much heavy lifting.
Well, so look, you'll get Miles Bailey, who's a superstar, back, and he is something to behold. I haven't seen a freshman look like this in a long time. He has got power to all fields. He's patient. His level of defensive prowess improved throughout the course of the year at first. You'll get back arguably one of the 10 best players in the country is what he's going to be next year if his growth continues down the same path that it's been on. That maturation process, you're good to go there. The Carnes kid that's a bat that plays for days. He's woeful defensively, which is why they did the juggling, I think. I'm speculating. Link didn't tell me this, but the only reason you would ever play Jackson West, who doesn't hit at all, not even a little bit, is because you don't trust the Carnes kid defensively. That's the only reason, all right? I would move on from Jackson West. This is not a personal attack on him. There's no reason to play him. He had 230, whatever. Come on. So let's see what they do there. Carnes is a kid who's, I'm sure his handlers are going to dictate whether he stays or not. It has to do with getting full-time playing. But he should hit. He really does hit. And he hit in this series. So,
yeah, he just needs to stop a ball. And
he's got defensively, he's not any good.
Work on that arm.
Yeah, it's problematic, but his bat plays. So
but he plays second base.
So you bring in the kid, was it from Davidson?
Yeah.
The second, well, played third, played second, played first. He could be a DH because he really hits. So we'll see what he is. He's an infield option. Obviously, Fisher will be an infield option. I think I'm leaning towards him staying at third, frankly. I know people talk about him playing shortstop. I think they may go out and look for a shortstop.
Yeah, you kind of need to have range to play short. Maybe he has it. Maybe he does. Third, it doesn't give you the opportunity, but he doesn't have the look to him. In college, you can have a different look at different positions, but Link likes the slot guys. He feels like a corner infielder, and Bailey's Bailey. You're not moving him off of first.
No. So the good news is you'll get a healthy Chase Williams back next year, and he'll play center. And he'll be a much better center fielder than he is left fielder, Tom. They got to teach him to slow it down a little bit, buddy. You got speed for days. Not everything has to be a full-on sprint. I love the effort. And look, for those that don't know it, and it doesn't excuse overrunning the ball out and left and making mistakes the way that he did in the one game the other night. But for those that don't know, he played the end of the year through a pretty significant injury and had to hit from just the left side. He's a switch hitter. he had to, that helicopter you see, that helicopter effect on his swing. Good, by the way, good on him last night with 3 hits and the home run. Nice way to end the year. That's all because of the injury to the shoulder. That's not how he's going to normally swing. I think he takes a huge leap next year. You can never teach the kind of passion that kid has, and he had, what's he going to steal? 40, 50, 60 bases next year? He's probably your leadoff hitter. He's a fun guy. You got him. I don't know what they're going to do. It'll be fascinating to see what they do in the outfield. They're going to have to. So Delamolier is an option.
Mm-hmm. Harrelson has another year. Let's see whether he comes back.
I don't think he will. Now, I'm speculating. I don't think Harrelson will come back, not because he's going to get drafted high, but he's who he is at this point. He's not getting younger. He's a marginal prospect because, let's be honest, outfielders that are $150 with no power at the next level are not exactly, fawned over. Nice baseball player, very good college baseball player. I think he'll choose to start his pro career. I would. I mean, was he a redshirt junior? I mean, it's probably time to take it on down the road. If he comes back, great. But if he doesn't, I think he'll move on. And then from there, what are we looking at in left field?
Well, you already said Delamolier is going to potentially.
Yeah, Delamolier. Oh, so Hankerson. Okay, so
Hankerson and Plain. I don't know where Plain played.
Well, he got hurt, and they thought he was going to really hit for them. Now, he was an option at first base and right field, I think. The problem with Hankerson is he's slower than you and me at our age. So,
well, look, maybe so.
What position does he play?
Maybe so, but you don't get a great indication first to home on Friday night because he didn't bust it from first to second.
Yeah, well, but we've seen him all year. He's not fast.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, he's not a fast guy.
He's fast enough to get home safely had he taken off with any degree of care and not assuming it was a home run.
I want to catch another angle, and I've got one being sent to me, so yes, it didn't look good. I also think he's that kind of slow.
Oh no, the angle is the play-by-play one as the above home plate camera. I mean, it's literally bat to ball. The next shot they cut to, you get the sense of, okay, I see you.
Yeah, no, it's frustrating.
A little joggy jog. At that point, though, the question is, as a third base coach, do you cut your losses and scream the kid down from third base, or do you send him?
McGahee made a blunder there that cost him dearly. And by the way, he hasn't been good over as the third base coach all year long. So that's just that's been a toughie. I'm curious they're good. These are tweaks. This is not, oh my God, what are we going to do? This isn't football 2-10. It's what happens at the end of the year when you assess a roster. They're gonna portal their way into some talent here again. It'll be interesting to see.
Last year was the heavier lift, I think, in terms of replenishing your roster. This will be an easier thing. They need to find more pitching and to thread that needle of kids who can come out of the bullpen, who are fine with coming out of the bullpen, and who aren't scared to do so. Because, of course, that rears its head because you get into a game 3. Well, and you expect your starter to, get 3 outs before he gives up 7 runs. That also doesn't help. And I think they had scored 13 by the time we recorded 9 as a pitching staff. So that doesn't much help either. Yeah, it's hurtful. This is one of the more hurtful super regional losses in my lifetime. And I think it's because I love the sport more than I ever have, college baseball specifically. It's just gotten so much better. Watching all the other supers this weekend was phenomenal. I know you've watched a lot more college baseball throughout the season to this point, but I loved watching the supers, especially yesterday, the first couple of games, North Carolina, Arizona, Louisville, Miami, just the quality of all of the play, top to bottom, the pitching, the hitting, the defense. It looks so much better than it did when I was in college 20 years ago when you had 2 or 3 future, ball players, and then you had a bunch of guys that might get to Double-A at some point in their career. Now, this is a factory for the pros. It's so much better, and I just wanted to be a part of that conversation, especially as you see all these other programs dropping like flies. You're salivating at the opportunity of getting out there, especially being on a half of the bracket in which North Carolina is not a part of it anymore earlier in the day. You're daring to dream, and I found myself daring to dream, and then we scored 2 in the top of the first, and I go, we're going back, like 11 used to say. And, then our first inning, bottom half of it happens.
So I tweeted it out, 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, now 9. So 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, all eliminated. So for people who are like, they choked. Well, traveled, 2,900 miles to face a higher seeded team and forced the game 3. This was not a choke. They had holes and they got hurt by the crest injury quite a bit. That really kind of changed the whole pitching dynamic. They've probably got an assessment for themselves about that bullpen having to be better. That is a fair criticism. You got to have more arms that you can trust available to you late in the year. They didn't have it this year, and that's frustrating.
Well, how many times did you watch the season in which they would go to one arm, then two, then three, and nobody could throw the ball over the plate?
Mm-hmm.
And you see the interactions between the head man and Coach Posey, and they ain't pleasant. They're not necessarily looking at each other or talking to each other, but you can feel it emanating from the first base dugout. That feeling of, really? How did it get so hard to just record a simple out?
Well, I want to go back to this, Tom, because I wrote down in my notes and I just pulled them up here. I mean, let's be honest. Rowan, Holtz, Lauk, to a degree, Abraham. These were all guys they thought that they could step up and be people that they could rely upon. And let's be honest, you got really not a lot from that group at all. I mean, that's a lot of pitchers to not get something from. And then when you throw in the crest injury, that's a toughie. And let's hope, by the way, after last night, I don't know the situation with Prescott, but that's problematic because the kid found himself and out here throwing 100 miles per hour, and man, that's a toughie. I hope he's okay.
Yeah, I think the hard part is, and Micah Posey alluded to this in the preseason interview, that look, we feel great about a lot of guys. We love what they've been doing on the TrackMan. We love what they've been doing in camp.
Oh, Barrett's somebody else, so we didn't get anything out of.
Correct. Yeah. Well, there's more. You can keep going. And,
well, I mean, even the guys we did,
even the guys that we did went through 3-4 week stretches where they didn't do much. But Posey said, you get into the games, then you actually find out what happens here. So the question is there anything they can go back to, check their notes, and see that, well, why do we believe that we would have 6 or 7 options out of the bullpen, and really we had 1 or 2 at any given time at most?
Yeah.
Sometimes we had none. How do you get from one place to the other, and is there anything that we can do to detect that problem before it arises? But, I mean, look, as we signed off on Friday, we were feeling good about the pen because guys had turned the corner and they had their moments. If you close the game on Friday night,
it's the Friday night game,
we
man.
generally feel okay standing here today, even though yesterday was, a train wreck. And as it turned out, as bad as Mendez was, he didn't single-handedly lose the game. We scored enough, but you have a moment that Joe Charles comes in a full count situation. He throws a pretty good pitch, a second one after a foul off. Don't get a call, and then you throw a cookie. Then you throw an absolute cookie
to the moon.
But if you get that out, who the hell knows? Maybe you win 12-10.
It's a wild game. It's a wild game. Look around the country. North Carolina was better than Florida State. North Carolina won their Friday game, 18-2 against Arizona. They did just about everything better than Florida State in the series that in the 4 times that we played them this year, and could certainly, along with Arkansas. Arkansas, I think, is the prohibitive favorite at this point. That's the most loaded of the teams that I've seen, and I saw them play in the regular season. They've got options on the right side and left side. They go to that bullpen, and they've got arms for days. They spend a lot of money on their roster, and they're the favorite to win the whole thing. There weren't too many teams outside of Arkansas that I looked at and thought, okay, well, they're devoid of problems. They don't, there's always something you can identify as the missing link. It's college baseball. It's hard to put together these kinds of rosters where you don't have holes somewhere that you're trying to hide or pitch around or work around. North Carolina was the other that we watched, and you're like, man, they do everything well. They pick it up. They run the bases. Now, we got to go to break, but my major criticism, and again, I think Link's got this program going in the right direction. It's self-evident. They're winning a ton of games. They were just one of the 4 standing last year, and they were a game away from going back to Omaha this year. But if you're going to criticize, they run the bases still like drunken idiots. And it is infuriating because they cost themselves 2 to 3 runs in the Friday night game with poor base running. So instead of protecting a 4-1 lead, maybe you're protecting a 6-1, 7-1. Maybe the game is a blowout, but you did what you did a lot this year, which is run the bases poorly.
Never in a concentrated effort quite like that.
It was a series
that
of...
was special. I mean, if we're going to score a run, we're just going to trade it out. That's just how it was. Did we score? Well, they're going to get us, they're going to throw behind us somewhere.
I was proud of Vellini. Talked about on Friday when you and I did the show that I thought Vellini was the right choice. I thought it made the most amount of sense. I loved his mentality, and he pitched great and deserved so much better. Should have gotten the win. They should have won that game by costing yourself runs on the base paths and then not having options out of the pen that you felt confident about. You ended up asking Charles to do too much. And in the end, it cost you the game, and it's unfortunate. But, they pick up the baseball so much better than they used to. Obviously, they were an offensive juggernaut a year ago. They were very good offensively this year. You scored 10 runs last night. I mean, it wasn't the offense.
While it felt over, it never felt over, if that makes any sense at all.
We kept putting people on base.
We did, and then also the way that park played, especially left field, because the wind was blowing out, and it was 90 degrees, which hardly ever is there this time of year.
Ball was traveling.
I mean, the third home run, I forget. The 7th run they scored in the first inning. I mean, that's a pop-up, and it goes and goes. And Chase is camping under it like it's Yankee Stadium down the right field line, and he's waiting, and it's over his head.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, well, hang on. Everybody hold their horses here. If that park is going to play like this, you never know.
Yeah.
This game's not done. But that extra grand slam kind of hurt when the guy told me that, they've already hit for the home run cycle here. Okay. Yeah. I think you're right there, Percy, or whatever his name is. Like, yeah, you're right, aren't you?
Yeah. Wasn't it Rexy?
Roxy
Roxy or Rexy?
Yeah, not Percy.
I think I remember thinking, that's an interesting name. I don't care, but it was. They will try to put this together now. One thing I do worry about, and we got to get into the house settlement stuff, and the weekend that was in recruiting. But I'm very, very intrigued. There was a rumor earlier this year. I'm always trying to find out where we stand, both in football and in basketball. I bring this up all the time. You guys probably get tired of it. But I bring up basketball, and I compare our roster expenditure to that of those we're tasked with competing against. That's the only way to look at it. Like, what is a legitimate expectation of your basketball program when you're 10th in the ACC in NIL money that you're spending on your roster? All right. And when you're going against a team like North Carolina that's spending $14 million. If you're in the SEC, Kentucky's spending $20 million on basketball. Jeez, that's crazy. That's as much as Ohio State spent to win the national championship in football last year. Seems absurd, but they care very deeply at Kentucky about basketball. So anyhow, that's that situation. What are we spending? Well, a couple mil on everything. And you're like, all right, well, I don't know what's realistic. Football-wise, I know 2 years ago we were top 12 in spending NIL for that football roster. Don't know where we fell last year. Could find out. But it's top 25. You're not broke.
Boy, it keeps slipping. First it was we're top 8, then now it's top 25.
Yeah, so, I can double-check what that number is. I know it was top 12 2 years ago. So the problem with baseball is I think we're 5th or 6th in the ACC. No, sir. No, sir. That is not acceptable. But it does let you understand the elite players that like Arkansas is getting or Tennessee's paying for. You're kind of not in the running for right now. if you're the 5th or 4th at best in the ACC and NIL, that's problematic. Like, I don't know if the new cap will change all of that. I think it probably does to a certain circumstance. I mean, to a certain degree. But I am very, very curious about that. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Hey, everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing NMLS 373031.
Do you own a small business? Let me guess. You started your business so you could get bogged down with payroll and bookkeeping, office tasks, and other paperwork, right? Probably not. I'm Craig Collins with Collins Income Tax Solutions. Allow me to help you get out from behind your desk and get back to doing what you love. For any of your payroll, bookkeeping, or other business services, give me a call today and allow me to take it off your plate. You can find my contact information online at collinsincometaxsolutionsllc.com.
I got some pretty spooky news from my Paul's termite and pest control technician the other day. It turns out that I'm sharing my home with Formosan termites. Those little monsters do damage about 4 times faster than the regular termites. Fortunately, Paul's discovered them on a routine general pest service, and they've already turned the Formosans back using an amazing treatment called Centricon.
Paul's was the first to introduce the Centricon termite colony elimination system to North Florida and is the leader in this non-invasive treatment. Instead of dumping gallons and gallons of harsh chemicals into our soil, Centricon uses environmentally sensitive treatments loaded in bait stations. These stations are placed around the home. Termites are present, they feed, and take it back to the colony, which is then destroyed. To learn more about Centricon and a free consultation, go to callpauls.com for the elimination of termite or any other pest.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Pauls. We'll get them all.
Porterman, you're walking crooked again. What happened to you?
Well, I was sitting at the boat ramp sipping on a margarita when my alligator Hank decided we needed to go water skiing.
Oh, no.
Next thing you know, Hank's strapped to 4 skis and I'm hanging on his back and the boat is pulling us out. It was all going great till Hank spotted a duck in the lily pads and wanted to jump the wake.
Porterman, you're crazy. No wonder you got hurt.
Yep, 1 second it's air, water, air, then bam, now I can't even bend over to put on my own water skis.
Well, Porterman, you better get over to Thin Chiropractic right now. You can book an appointment online and take advantage of the new patient special.
Special offer online? That's easier than wrestling an airboat off a sandbar.
That's right. Just go to thinchiro.com. FENNCHIRO.com. FENNCHIRO.com.
That's it. I'm headed over there boogity to get straightened out.
Science-backed, technology tracked and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Oh, I missed that, Tommy. Thanks. I have not been in the chat, so I realize now that there's been a contribution thanks to the whoa! Tony writes, so proud of the baseball team for not giving up last night. Looking forward to seeing what Link does to reload. I, too, am looking forward to that. You know, Tony, this is interesting. I do this. This seems innocuous enough. It's a nice thing to say. But I will tell you, I don't give credit to people for trying hard and not giving up. And that's not a knock. And I'm not criticizing your comment. And you're probably speaking a little bit to human nature, right? Like, it could have very easily, when you're down by more than 10 runs and you've had the rug pulled out from under you, you'd sometimes see kids go through the motion. But I don't look at that as anything more than the standard. Like, you're in a super regional where you just quit. I mean, I'm glad they continued to play hard, as they should. As they should. Now, where you might retort is you'd say, well, last year's football team didn't, Jeff. Exactly. And that has been brought up.
Well, and this year's group had a little bit of front runner energy in them earlier in the season. And so for the final note to be one that shows the level of commitment is, I think, a good thing. You don't want the season to ever end, but they did it the right way.
Well, you better fight. I don't suspect you'll see too many teams in the postseason at Florida State, quit. That'd be a toughie. So
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that it does that. There was context to that before in the season where you go, ooh, are these guys broken? What's going on? Think about the second game of the North Carolina series back here in Tallahassee and how after game 3, in which Florida State won 5-4, Miles Bailey hit a couple of home runs. Link Jarrett said, well, I was really glad to see that. That was a big move for us. I wasn't sure that was coming, was the subtext there.
All right. That was the first one. Did I miss another one?
No, just double down on the woo.
You just double down on the woo. All right. So in what has been described as the most, one of the most impactful events in the history of college football, the House committee deal has been passed. Claudia Wilkin, the federal judge in California, approved the settlement Friday between the NCAA and a revenue-sharing system that allows athletic departments, and you say this out loud and you realize the significance of it, athletic departments can now pay the players, share in the profits, and pay the players to compete on behalf of the university. Directly pay them. Directly pay the players. And that number is $20.5 million that you have that you can then share with the players in whatever capacity you want. Could be 90% football, 10% the other sports, could be however you decide to divvy it up. You got $20.5 million.
There's a lot of discussing to do, but just because you put it so simply, it makes me chuckle. So in this moment, universities are now allowed to directly pay the players.
Mm-hmm.
However, they are not employees. Like, this is going to be 15 years from now. Like, oh, so they were able to play. So they became employees in that moment? No. It took years before they were gained the status or given the status of employee. So, okay, so there was a bargaining that went that showed what their salary structure was. No. They just arbitrarily chose at 20.5 what they were going to give certain players based upon whatever algorithm they had. That's all.
The agreement lasts 10 years. The money will increase annually, Tom. So just to get the information out there to our listeners, it's not going to be $20.5 million after next year. It will increase. It will continue to rise, obviously. So athletes collecting outside payments for NIL now don't have to do that. They can, but they can now just accept money instead of name, image, likeness. They can get it from the school coffers, which are obviously filled by media rights, ticket sales, jersey sales, these things that the university has benefited from for all these years that make them a ton of money. They share now that money with the players, as opposed to just name, image, likeness money that allegedly players were getting for, book signings and
billboards.
Silliness. Right.
Shop where I shop.
So it is now regulated. It was unregulated. Now it's regulated. There you go. NIL deals, any NIL deals that are separate from the money that the players are going to get from their universities will go through a clearinghouse. You guys know this is what has been talked about for weeks or months. Now it's real. It'll go through a clearinghouse to determine whether it's in line with an actual endorsement or promotional value. So the greatest example of that would be the multi-million-dollar deal Caitlin Clark got with State Farm while at Iowa. And there's one where you'd go, yeah, it seems to cut the mustard. She's the biggest star in the game, and yeah. But for most people, it's not that deal, and it's not anything close to it. And this is where it will get interesting. There are going to be a ton of legal challenges to this. There are a lot of concerns that schools have about operationally how to do this and follow the rules. And, you know, it's a huge moment in college athletics, but we're just now, I think, scratching the surface of a lot of legal questions that are going to come down the pike. But as for now, it is legal for universities to pay athletes out of the money that they make, as I mentioned before, aforementioned ticket sales, media rights, jersey, you name it.
Well, the good news is our athletic director worked directly with the salary cap structure at the Dallas Cowboys, so we're not going to have those concerns about how to make this all work.
Oh, man. I do. It is going to be interesting to see where we go from here. You know, people have said, hey, this is akin to the NCAA's foundation, which started in 1905. It's akin to Title IX, which happened in 1972, created opportunities. And now there's this major event, seismic shift in the world of college athletics. But you still, I think the best part is that most of us are all of the mindset now that we may have just returned to 1990. That in essence, instead of underhanded payments and wink, wink, nod, nod, and $1 million handshakes and those kinds of things, now you have a structure by which the university can openly play players, not illegally. They don't have to hide it. They can be like, oh, you know what? We're going to give you $50,000. All right. So that's all on the up and up. Now it's like the secondary market with ticket sales. Because now we get into, okay, about that NIL deal. I'm going to give you $20,000 to say I drive a Subaru or whatever it is, right? Okay. What's to stop people from somehow going, hey, check the glove box when you get in that car, buddy? That's the real money. It's not the $20,000 we're putting on the books. So that we're back to 1990. We're back to 1984. You know, hey, no, the deal's on the up and up. He only got $7,000 this year for signing autographs at the hotel lobby. Just so happens that we handed him a coffee that had $10,000 in it. And some others, perhaps a biscuit. So, you know, things of that ilk. It will be fascinating to see if they're able to monitor this, police this, and do so legally. And will they be able to withstand challenges legally to putting a cap on what people can make?
Yeah, the whole thing to me is I don't believe that it has put a cap on what people make per se. I think it's raised the floor of what the average player makes. And the question is, how can you get the superstar their money anyway? Like I saw on 3 this weekend had an article, it was talking about the going rate for quarterbacks. They produced an article specifically about the quarterbacks, and the quote was, oh, hell no, the price ain't going down on a quarterback. Of course not. But for your starting left guard, I think this is great news. You weren't getting as much money, I don't think, as you will now. The pool is $16.5, $17, $18 million that's going to be going to football alone. They're not going to spend that on 4 dudes. They're going to spend that on, you know, spread it around to 20 and 30 players at a decent clip. So I think more of your barely above replacement level players just saw their average rate go up. That's what I think happened here. The superstars are still going to be making superstar money.
Yeah, and you know, we know that weighing how you allocate your money will be very, very important. The schools that have powerhouse upper crust football programs will take a good long look at what percentage of that 20.5 is doled out to football, and then what goes to basketball, and what goes to baseball, and what goes to women's golf and men's golf, and what, you know, you name it. So it is interesting too that when you hear a poll of athletic directors that have been interviewed, various athletic directors in the SEC and the ACC and the Big Ten, they'll say, well, look, you know, I mean, bottom line is not every player is going to get paid. Not like really get paid, and that, yes, I've said that all along. I'm like, how much you paying that backup right guard? We'll give you $50 cash. That's like, you're not getting a lot. You're not getting a lot, but everybody will have opportunity to it, and we'll go from there. It's fascinating to think about what percentages. Look, we know the vast majority of the money that Florida State has out of this 20.5 is going to be going to football until they can rectify the situation of the, sucking.
Well, and also the extra money we need by being in a different conference and a different existence. We've shrunk that gap a little bit, but we could use a little bit more help there. The one question I'm not perfectly clear on is, there's several, but the one I care about is in incentives and inducements. Like, that was the big thing before the House settlement, is you could not incentivize a contract based upon performance. Is that still the thing now that the universities themselves are paying players? Or could you put a provision in a player's contract now with the university structure that says you go for 800 rushing yards, you're going to get a certain amount extra? And do you build in space for that under the cap? Because that would be great if we could get to that point where there are performance-based incentives. That would be much better than guaranteed money, rain or shine.
Yeah, and contracts.
Right.
Shannon Young, Knowles, Loans for Knowles. LoansForKnowles.com. My man Shannon, hard working, baby. 7 different states: Florida, Georgia, Bama, Tennessee, Texas, Carolinas. The best support, faster responses, better options for you now that he's with Cross Country Mortgage. And, I've seen his unwavering commitment. I've listened to people who have done business with Shannon, and all of them have affirmed what I knew to be true, and that is that he is tireless. He wants you to get that dream house of yours and the best loan options for it. You want to learn more about it, LoansForKnowles.com. That is LoansForKnowles.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Fromsley with your Real Talk 90.
Any local competitor's pricing. We're a family-owned business ready to offer you the best sales and installation service in the area. And don't forget about our veterans and first responders discounts. Call Metal Roofing Sales today, 850-536-9123, or visit us online at metalroofingsales.net.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
He's the kind of dad who's always there for late night walks and talks, early morning rides, and every moment in between. This Father's Day, we want to honor a truly great dad with the ultimate dad prize. Free tickets to see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a free round of golf for 4, and a well-deserved steak dinner. Nominate a dad who's made a difference in your life. Share his story at realtalk93.com today. Brought to you by the law offices of Basic Brooks, your personal injury attorneys.
There is no Bigfoot, Eddie. Would you stop with that nonsense?
There's a Bigfoot, Jeff.
I wish there were. By the way, I don't want you to point to me as the guy that takes all the fun out of the room. I wish there was the Loch Ness Monster. I wish there was the Bigfoot. I wish there was the Chupacabra. All the things.
They're all mythical except for the Bigfoot. The Sasquatch.
The Bigfoot?
The Bigfoot. There's big feet. There's lots of them.
So, like, different, breeds, like different kinds.
There's families. There's different families. And,
so there's if they're in the snow, you call them a Sasquatch.
Or the Yeti, right?
Yep,
and then here in Florida, that's a skunk ape. And, but
never heard that one. By the way, why do you think it's real? We would have found them by now.
They're the hide and seek champions of the world. nobody finds the Bigfoot.
I think you believe in Bigfoot.
I do believe in Bigfoot.
You don't believe.
I believe in Bigfoot.
Don't tell anybody you believe in Bigfoot.
I would go look for Bigfoot, but he scares me.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
So that finally goes through. A lot of people seem to be very excited about it. I have my second guesses and doubts about all of this as to whether or not it's going to run smoothly as quickly as we'd all like it and need it to. But a lot of people within the industry will tell you that it's a very good thing, that it's a, athletic directors across the country believe the number is going to, and the ability to kind of get a handle on what is quote unquote a wild, wild west has just been made easier.
I think we can agree that it's moving this game closer to the end. This is a step that allows for the legal challenges that's going to precipitate probably some sort of legal ruling that mandates that these guys need to be collectively bargained and be employees. Like this helps, because if the House settlement never happened, if we were here and we're kicking off the week of Alabama, which I'd love to be Monday of Alabama week right now.
That's where we're headed mentally.
Yeah. But the moment that the fifth home run was hit last night for Oregon State, yes, that's where my mind went. If we were at that date and there was no House settlement, well, I don't know. But since this has happened, okay, that's a step in the right direction. I don't think it's some magic wand like some people do.
By the way, that all kicks off on July the 1st. If you're wondering, that each school, the allotment of money, the $20.5 million that we keep referencing in payments that you can dole out to players, to athletes, that all begins on July the 1st. And it came from the negotiated formula that capped athlete payments at 22% of the average annual revenue that an FBS level school gets from ticket sales, broadcast rights, and whatever the other items were. That's where that number came from. It's not arbitrary. That's how it came to that number.
Well, and also the 7th of June, 2 days ago, is when athletes had to start self-reporting their deals. Self-reporting the deals that they were made, third-party deals. I'm sure there are plenty of lawyers out there who said, well, don't do that. They can say June 7th all they want. Don't. And we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But that's technically the rule, is you needed to start hitting up the clearinghouse about what your deals are with third-party, what would it be? Advertisers, marketers?
Right.
Yeah.
Collectives
beyond $600, beyond the amount of $600.
So, athletes are allowed to make money from selling the rights to their name, image, likeness, NIL, to other parties. It creates the new agreement, the House agreement, sets a new set of puts in place a new set of rules and a new organization that you're going to hear a lot about, the College Sports Commission, which we've talked about, but you get ready to hear that. They'll try to be the ones that stop boosters from using NIL deals as additional salary payments. This is where it gets tricky. That has been commonplace in the last 2 years. That's what we've known, right? This is how guys got paid. Teams have been working in concert with booster collectives like the Battles Inn and trying to find creative ways to pay their payrolls with third-party NIL deals that fit within the rules is what they're trying to do now. So football and basketball teams will have to find ways to provide several $1 million beyond the salary cap limits if they want to field an elite championship level team. We know this, but how are they going to do that and be on the up and up?
Correct. The other part of it is, if you're looking specifically at football and basketball, it sounds like what I'm reading the literature says is that the actual financial crunch doesn't come till next year because of the front-loading thing that has been going on. Before the House settlement was enacted, everybody was trying to rush to get guys their money or get deals struck that predate, are grandfathered in for the upcoming calendar year. So there might be some jostling with some monies that go on this year. I would think maybe baseball probably has that problem across the sport next season, but football won't really feel the pinch until we get into 2026, 2027's football season. This year, most of these kids are going to go home with more money than they'll ever see again. That's at least the prevailing thought.
It's interesting, by the way. I was reading have you heard the name Sedona Prince? A lead plaintiff in one of the lawsuits that led to the settlement told ESPN on Friday night that she and her peers hope the settlement is a launching pad to increase players' power in shaping new rules. We just walked into a new world, she said. It's a guideline for us to build and add to the future. We needed this foundation. Now we're being treated like semi-pro athletes. But there are a lot of concerns going forward for improvement in player health and player representation and decision-making. She cites an organization like athletes.org as one of several groups that will aim to be a union. So here you go, Tom. There you go, buddy.
Oh, you watch. The constraints put on a player's time between academic responsibilities and athletic responsibilities, the amount of practices, short week football games, the things that we decried 12 years ago that were disgusting.
Right.
Saturday night kickoffs followed by a Thursday. That was before the pros did it. They made college kids do it.
Yeah, and
Yes.
we always used to laugh because the NCAA would talk about the student-athlete's best interests, health, mental or otherwise. You're like, really?
I mean, what about jet lag on flights
Really?
for baseball teams across the country?
It's tough to overcome, Tom. Hour number 2, forthcoming. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
When your AC unit decides to give up the ghost, it doesn't always pick the best time. But no matter what time, day or night, or day of the week, you can call E&B Heating and Air Conditioning. We'll be out to bring your AC unit back to life. We've been repairing and replacing heating and air conditioning systems in the North Florida and South Georgia area since 1974. So when your air conditioner stops working, call E&B Heating and Air Conditioning to the rescue.
I got a fever, and the only prescription is more cowbell.
Do you have spring fever? Your only prescription is the Lawn Johns. Hi, it's Mark from the Lawn Johns. We can make your landscape more appealing by providing you with award-winning lawn care. With 4 levels of service, the Lawn Johns offers you more choices than the rest. More flowers, more mulch, or more pine straw all means that your home or office will be more beautiful than ever. So if you've got spring fever, go to thelawnjohns.com or just look for our big purple truck.
I gotta have more cowbell.
Hey, everybody, it's Ed Dean along with Roger Henderson, also with FloridaDaily.com. Just want to remind you, daily 4 to 6 in the afternoons right here in Tallahassee on Real Talk 93.3 FM. Roger, it is literally the 2 fastest hours anywhere in afternoon talk radio.
And if you think the country's going crazy, we'll help you make sense of it all.
Oh, yeah, we'll try to make some sense of it. Again, Monday through Friday in the afternoons, Ed Dean, Roger Henderson on 93.3.
There's nothing like relaxing in a hot tub after a long day. But if you don't have one, you're truly missing out. Hot tubs and spas have tremendous health benefits, besides just helping you relax. Like improving your sleep, they help with pain relief. They help to better your cardiovascular health, and so much more. And this season is the perfect season to finally buy what you've been wishing for. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas has the hot tubs you need for the price you want. Come shop our huge 12,000 square foot showroom and save today. There's over 50 hot tubs in stock right now, so you won't have to wait weeks on end for that delivery to finally come to town. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come visit our huge showroom at 2473 Greer Road with over 50 hot tubs to choose from. You'll be glad you did.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee.
Your Sports Flash update on Real Talk 93.3 in Tallahassee.
The season is over for both Florida State baseball and Miami baseball. Neither team could advance out of the Super Regional. For Florida State, they lose the third game of the Super Regional to Oregon State yesterday, 14-10. They had forced a game 3 by winning game number 2. And then Miami baseball, they end up losing to Louisville by a 3-2 score in game 3 of that Super Regional. Major League Baseball, the Rays and Marlins matched up over the weekend, and the Rays end up taking 2 of 3, winning on Sunday by a 3-2 score. The Rays are going to open up a series against Boston, while the Marlins are getting set to begin a series against the Pittsburgh Pirates. This Sports Flash is presented by Progressive. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo insurance and save with Progressive. I'm Matt Pauley on Real Talk 93.3.
Now at Verizon, we have some big news for your peace of mind. For all our customers, existing and new, we're locking in low prices for 3 years, guaranteed, on My Plan and My Home. That's future you peace of mind. And everyone can save on a brand new phone on My Plan when you trade in any phone from one of our top brands. That's new phone peace of mind. Because at Verizon, whether you're already a customer or you're just joining us, we got you. Visit Verizon today. Price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
Give me those sauces, grab the chicken strips, let's dunk them in there. There's nothing like it. Hey, I'm Joey. And I'm Josh. And we're team members at our local Chick-fil-A. And a little thing you'll love about the Chick-fil-A chicken strips is dipping them in our sauces. My sauce is the barbecue sauce. If you wanted to add sweet, tangy flavors, there's nothing like it. I love the garden herb ranch sauce, but if you want a little bit more kick on the spicy side, you can mix it with buffalo sauce. Dipping them in our sauces, it is perfection.
It's the summer of Chick-fil-A chicken strips and sauces. Order now on the Chick-fil-A app. Team members paid for their testimonials.
Hey, everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing NMLS 373031.
Honey, what are these mushrooms in our yard? Portobello?
Huh. Let me take a look. Oh,
Shiitake.
I don't know, but our septic system is failing, and our whole yard smells like.
Should we try to cook these up and eat them tonight?
This is bad, Sheila.
Well, we better fix it soon, or we're going to be in deep.
Sheila, look, it's Crud Septic. Our prayers are answered.
Call Crud Septic Service today. Pump outs, installs, repairs, crudseptic.com. That's crudseptic.com.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
hitting Oregon State 17-12. But alas, those first 3 innings did the deed. Florida State got nothing out of Mendez, who had nothing on this night, and it's a tough one. I really wish the best for the kid moving forward because he's going to be a big part of your rotation next year. But, man, that's a tough one to shake off. Yeah, that's in the history of big games in the postseason. Trying to think of somebody who got off to as bad a start. 7 runs in the first will hurt your feelings, to say the least. So frustrating. Talked a little bit about what that roster will look like and some efforts to fill in the missing pieces as guys go on and pursue their professional career. The last 2 years, a lot of really good players, a lot of really good play, and results have been good. But alas, Florida State 42-16 this season, Tommy. 42-16, good year. Replaced a lot of upper echelon talent, offensive firepower, found a way to put together a very good offense this year. Not enough pitching out of the bullpen. Had some injuries along that front. I know that obviously you can't anticipate Evan Kress getting hurt. That hurt him a lot. And then, of course, they never got Leiter back. And I think they thought at some point, even at the end of last year, that Leiter would pitch again. It was not to be. So missing some arms there that could have helped you big time. In the end, you just didn't have enough reliable guys out of that bullpen, something they were going to have to address, obviously.
One thing I'm very interested to see is after the draft happens this year and they do the first round of mocks for 2026, the value of power at first base in terms of the market in Major League Baseball is diminished. You just saw it this past year in negotiations of a Christian Walker and a Pete Alonso. And Freddie Freeman didn't even get, a crazy amount of money for the Hall of Famer that he is.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that consideration. But then there's also the age of Miles Bailey. He's still a baby by MLB standards in next year's draft. He's a draft eligible sophomore, and he's got the thunderous bat that a Major League Baseball organization is craving from the left side. You got 2 competing things. First base, not overly valued, kind of like running back at the NFL. But then you've got this prodigious talent. I'd love to see where he slots in next year's first-year player draft.
Yeah, he is one of the things that we can't talk enough about, and I think we've talked about it a lot, is just the maturation process throughout the course of the year where he adjusted his approach over and over again to match that of what teams were figuring out to try to do to him to get him out. Anytime there was a spate of lack of success at the plate for him, it did not stretch out for weeks. It did not stretch out for long periods of time. There was one uncomfortable moment, but that's not to be unexpected with a freshman. But his adjustments and the willingness to continually drive the ball the other way, there's just seemingly effortless power with him. He had a couple of close moments again, Tom, the ball off the wall, if that goes out of the yard. You just so many little things that you get frustrated by. It's the game of baseball, but had a couple of those, obviously the Carnes hit. So you look back on it, you're like, would have been cool if that left. But golly, that double last night, it just doesn't look like it's real hard for him. And his approach is always really, really good.
Well, and as fans that watch every at bat, you get it. You heard it off the bat. He didn't quite get it all the way, but typically that's plenty to leave the yard. And you're right that it's usually plenty to leave the yard. And it was 3 feet from going over the wall. He doesn't have to square it up like he did in Durham for that unholy home run. That's going to be one of my favorite that I've ever seen in my entire life. But
yeah, get ready for next year. Get ready for the year he's going to have, huh?
Yeah, you're going to have to protect him, too. Find somebody to slot behind him that they have to think about.
Yeah.
He's going to be the guy they don't want to beat him. He's going to get intentionally walked like crazy next year. He should watch Barry Bonds videos all off season long about how I'm only going to get 1 pitch a night. I better hit it, because that's going to be his existence next year.
If they don't have people to protect him, right? Yeah. No, he's fun to watch. Also, he plays the game absolutely the right way.
He does. I think they'll
so measured.
I think Fisher will be behind him. Makes sense. Lefty, righty. Fisher's the middle of the order guy anyway.
Really looking forward to see the kind of season Kyle Fisher's going to have. He started to hit for power, and he's got a good approach at the plate. So, yeah. They do some things much better than they used to, such as picking up the baseball. I know Link touched on it after the game was over in the press conference, asked about the season, asked about his team, asked about looking ahead to next season even. And he said, well, obviously we want to be really good up the middle. I thought this team was. He's right everywhere except for catcher. But yes, they were very good at second, very good at short.
Center was okay.
Center was okay. It was good enough.
Streaky.
It was good enough. Right. So, he wants to build that way, and I get that. And we'll see. He's going to portal in some guys that got the development of some others that, again, we both think that, Carnes has got to just work defensively. I mean, he's going to hit. I don't worry about that. And I think Chase is going to be electrifying when healthy. Switch hitter with all of that speed. I don't think he'll be as wild, for lack of a better term, with the swings. I believe a lot of that was born out of injury. Nice game last night, though. Really nice game last night from him.
Yeah, I wonder if Eli Putnam will be the 2-hitter. That's the Davidson transfer. Assuming that, the professional ranks don't come calling and they don't meet his number.
See what his draft is, yeah.
Which is still possible. But do you move Bailey to 3 and then Fisher 4? Or do you go Chase Williams, Bailey, Fisher 1, 2, 3? That is fearsome, but you potentially risk the lineup not being lengthened all that much. So I'm already thinking about it, buddy. College baseball has gone to a different level. I always cared greatly about Florida State baseball, but the sport, I could take or leave. The sport has gone to such a great place. I can't wait to watch it. I'm going to take this weekend off. I'm not watching Omaha this weekend, but I cannot wait to watch it next season.
I think that's the great lament for Florida State fans today is that, look, this whole thing opened up. I mean, the bracket's crazy. You could have. The path to get there is seemingly a lot easier than you would have anticipated based on the seeding. Now, before we forget, you would have faced Louisville.
That would have been a war.
Who ran all over you the last time you faced them and probably would have again. So, but yes, I would have taken my chances given the way this thing has played out. It is another reminder that, by the way, it's not just Florida State. People, we're all myopic. We're Noles. We see it from a garnet and gold colored lenses. And when our team loses, it feels like, this terrible fate had befell. But again, how would you like to be Texas or Vanderbilt or North Carolina? North Carolina was all set and had everything you could possibly need. Great frontline pitching, really good out of the pen. They were offensively very good, defensively very good, ran the bases exceptionally well. Win 18-2 in the Friday game against Arizona. And the next thing you know, yesterday's playing out. You got a kid boot a double play ball that, I don't know. I haven't seen a kid from North Carolina make that kind of defensive blunder, at least not against us, at any point this year. I looked at their fielding numbers. They're very good. So, they don't make a habit of just butchering a routine double play ball. He does at just the wrong time. Opens the door. Arizona gets a couple of runs. Season over. Thanks for playing, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
That's got to be tough.
The torture meter was very high yesterday for those fans in Chapel Hill because they have that play. They also load the bags in the 8th, and you have the rollover to first base. After all this, you have the rollover to first base. The first baseman falls down, and so for that brief moment, you have hope that maybe you're going to beat the play to first. You have a tie ball game, but he gets up in time and he flips to the pitcher who was alertly going to first, even though on that ground ball, there really is no PRP or PFP, whatever the hell it is. I think PRP is the injection. PFP is the pitching practice. Anyway, he doesn't need to cover first. First base, hey, he's going to make that play unassisted all day long, but he was there.
He was there. He was ready.
They're going over all that today.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, no, there are a lot of people just kind of rolling their eyes, and it's when I turned off the TV late last night to go to bed, just a exhale. All right, that's a toughie. Let's see how they infuse talent for this roster moving forward. They got to get better out of the pen. They have a couple areas of concern moving forward, just in terms of losing some really talented guys. But I'm going to trust that this will be another really good team next year, and I am interested. They bring in the kid from FAU. We'll see. I'd like to find a emerging arm from the right side that we can, slot him in, feel pretty good about that. Can't predict injuries. I mean, those do happen, and it did happen this year to them with the Kresh situation, in which it turned out to be devastating. And we knew it at the time. We first guessed it, like, that's a problem as this season goes on.
Well, he was on the brink of being your Sunday guy.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, because Mendez had been struggling for weeks. Mendez didn't. I think he went 5 2/3 the first 3 or 4 weeks. It was like 5 2/3 shutout. Boom, boom, boom. And then he started to falter, and Crest was looking better and better. He had the performance against Florida, and you go, "Oh, okay, Evan. I see you, Evan." And then he has to signal to the dugout, and you go, "Oh boy, that's it for Evan Crest." I think it was on was it the second inning of a game?
Yeah, when he looked over
and
when he looked at the dugout, I was like,
everybody's expression was that knowing expression of you've conceded. It's over.
It's got to be the worst. I never pitched. I have no idea. I've never had an elbow injury or anything like that. I can't imagine that moment when you realize, I mean, there it is. That's your instrument. And all of a sudden you feel that burn that pitchers describe, and they know. A lot of times you hear it. I don't know. We weren't on the field, so I don't know. But like that burning sensation, like, just tore something. We're done here. Okay. I do remain amazed every time that I see a pitcher, in desperate need in that moment from that point forward of Tommy John surgery, just calmly motion. We're done. It's over. Been real, boys. Just that look, like kind of walk off the field like, that hurts. I'm in a lot of pain. Not good. Gonna need surgery. This sucks. Have a good one, everybody.
The NCAA over the decades has given a lot of dispensations to people. I think if you're in your last year of eligibility and you have Tommy John, you should be able to come back. One more year. It could even be in Omaha. Doesn't matter. Tommy John, I can't get drafted. There is a huge barrier to my ability to get paid.
Screwed.
I have to go pitch for like some schmuck in a camp on a Tuesday and hope that they brought the right gun with them that says 96. Let me back in the game. Shake the fence like Eric Andre.
All right, so according to Wilt Fong there of On3, Florida State is hoping for obviously big returns out of the recruiting weekend that was. Look, I have said this a bunch. First of all, I think the way that we all look at recruiting has changed immensely, and it's not great for the sport. I think collectively, it's not just a Florida State thing. I'm not talking about our lack of recruiting prowess currently. I'm just talking about recruiting. Used to be a build-up to a great day and a recruit Nick celebrated everywhere, but even casual college football fans were like, ooh, how'd we do? They tuned in. It was a big to-do. Now, when you talk to me about first of all, if you talk to me about a 2027 kid, I've shut down. I don't hear you. What the hell good does it do me to care about a 2027 commit? I mean, that's ridiculous in today's day and age. There's no reason.
You hear Burt Bacharach in your brain.
Yeah, I'm done. I got nothing. But a 2026 kid, I'm kind of interested. I mean, I want to know that some of the better players are at the very least paying attention that we exist and are arriving on campus and showing up and creating some sort of buzz and perhaps saying nice things. But I don't spend a lot of time on it. I don't really trust anything a kid says to anybody waiting over there at the facility as they leave from their visit. I mean, well, what are you gonna put into that? I mean, I know we got to get the quote, and we do. And good on you over there waiting around all day in this godforsaken heat to have a kid say that he really enjoyed his visit. But that's what the game is. And, obviously we do it and people on the beat do it, and that's fine. I wouldn't be over there doing it, but I also don't put stock into anything they say. They're going to tell you, I mean, when was the last time a kid's like, this visit sucked. I hated it here. You'll never see me again. You never hear that.
Well, what's special about this place is the relationships.
You're never going to hear that. And rarely, sometimes, but rarely do you hear the kind of thing where you're like, you know what? That kid's sticking. I feel good. Like, they don't walk out and go, oh, my God. I thought this place was a dump, but I was wrong. It's incredible. I want to sign right now. Why would I visit anywhere else? This place is unreal.
Well, hang on. You got a little bit of that energy yesterday from Devin Carter, who was on campus. No, well, he said the offensive staff 10 times better. And he said that I was talking to LaWayne McCoy and Elijah Moore and Javon Boggs, and they're actually learning stuff now. I mean, that's the quote. Like, well, okay. This reminds me of Lonnie Pryor all those years ago. Well, now we know what the offensive line is doing. So, we work with Coach Trickett, so we know where to go. Oh, really? Didn't know that before, did you? Okay.
So the linebacker whose name I like, DQ Forkpa. That's a cool name. That's the IMG Academy kid, right? DQ Forkpa. That sounds dastardly.
I'm going to check with the FCC if you can say that.
I like that guy's name. I don't know if he's any good at all. His quote was, "Man, it was electric. I was able to hang out with the players, love the brotherhood that they have. I fit right in with them. Defense is easy to learn and built for linebackers to make plays. Continues to excite me is all the changes they've made and how they pan out during the season. Ha-ha, DQ Forkpa. You hit on the whole kit and caboodle, buddy. It's the whole thing. None of it. Not a kid who has nothing but great things to say and is excited about maybe perhaps someday joining this list of recruits and celebrating a commitment to Florida State or those that are weighing their options. None of it matters at all until we find out how we play in 2 games. You want to turn recruiting around, you want much better results than we've gotten, then you better win one of the 2 games between Alabama in the opener and Miami, whatever that is, 5 weeks later.
Yeah, October, first week.
That's it. That's the whole thing. You lose both those games. If you lose both those games, recruiting's not turning it around. You got no shot. You're not going to get, I don't care what a kid says. He ain't coming here. On the heels of 2-10, if you don't show market improvement in games that matter, and I hate to tell you, but obviously the 2 directional schools coupled with the Friday night Virginia game don't matter that much. Alabama matters big time, and you could go a long way in altering the perception of what you are and what you're going to be with a victory there, and a victory there would be an upset victory. You're currently double-digit underdogs in that game. So that would go a long way. And then, obviously, whatever you do in-state against Miami in a big rivalry game, high-profile game there, too. You win one of those 2, win both of those, now all of a sudden the door is open to much better recruiting. We'll see if he can cash it in. He hasn't up till now, but I think understanding the importance of this, it's probably been pressed upon him at this point. But you can't really alter the kind of enthusiasm and excitement people are going to have that's tangible to where they are locked in and ready to commit until you show the product on the field to be that much better. That's the whole thing.
Yes, I agree with you up to the point where they have to be wins. I don't think they have to be as long as you get wins elsewhere and you play well in those games. If you play well in those games, you might have enough to secure a kid who is already interested. I think if you win one of those games, you might lure kids who aren't very interested to check out what's going on. The problem you have is that your home schedule is so light after that you really do need to air it out, go all in on those 2 home weekends, because I don't think a home date with Virginia Tech in November is going to cut it. I don't think Saturday, November 1st against Wake Forest is going to cut it. I mean, in truth, you only have 3 more home games after October the 4th. I just pulled up the schedule.
I know, it's crazy.
The next week you have Pitt, and then it's Wake and Virginia Tech. So, for hosting purposes, you got to knock it out of the park. I think if you get raucous crowds, which you're guaranteed to in week 1, you probably still will have Miami anyway.
Oh, yeah.
You get raucous crowds and you play well, and they can see themselves in the system, and it's competitive and it's nasty and or fun. That might be enough, but you can't blow it by going 6-6 afterwards.
I was going to say, and also that's relative. It's the first game of the year. I mean, look, yes, I agree. What you can't do, you can't get blown out.
Correct. You can't look like jerks.
Yeah, you can't get out there and get blown out. I also would just love to see it play out. Never mind the enthusiasm and excitement we'll all have for getting a win if they were able to pull it off against Alabama on the heels of 2-10. It would feel like, it'd feel like the pressure valve was released, and all of a sudden you could breathe a little bit, and you might have an opportunity to really turn this thing back around much quicker than you realized. But I also think, as a college football fan, like removing the garnet and gold colored glasses for a second, I want to hear that conversation if Alabama loses on the heels of their 4 losses and the pressure DeBoer is under. Imagine losing to a team that went 2-10 the year before. After he lost 4 games last year, yeah, that'd be interesting to hear play out.
Oh, yeah, that's where just understand that if we score that victory and you're trying to go to national outlets to see the flowers that we get, you're not getting those.
No, it's going to be about Alabama.
It's what's wrong with Alabama.
Yeah, it will 100% be about what's wrong with Alabama.
And it will be a super close crop up of the forehead of Paul Feinbaum on the front page of ESPN. That's what it's going to be. That's okay.
Yeah, and there's no scenario where that's not true. So, for example, if Florida State were to, and God forbid, and it's not going to happen, but let's just have fun with it for a second. If Florida State was to blow Alabama out, dare to dream, everybody. Dare to dream.
37-10.
I might weep. I might walk out of that stadium just wiping tears. 37-10. Anyhow, if they were to do something like that, what kind of unmitigated disaster has DeBoer created in Tuscaloosa? Like that, there's your lead, right? If it's 24-23 Florida State, it's still not. How about the guts of Florida State getting it turned around? No, it's going to be
Alabama loses nail biter in Tallahassee.
To 2-10 Knowles from year before, or whatever they find a way to work it in.
I'm telling you, that website will just put the town. They won't even put the university in Tallahassee.
You might be right, man. You might be right. Cornbread hemp CBD gummies are made to help you feel better. That's for sure. Whether you're dealing with stress or discomfort, need a little relaxation, Cornbread Hemp's got you covered. Look, if you've tried everything under the sun for peace of mind, maybe this is for you. It sounds like it's time for you to try Cornbread Hemp's CBD gummies. Different than the THC ones that I talked to you about. That's a different kind of feel good. This is the body aches, all that kind of stuff. You know, just a natural way. Here you go. You got it. Cornbread Hemp CBD gummies are a huge piece of the wellness plan, everybody. All products are third-party, lab-tested, USDA organic to ensure safety and purity. Right now, Jeff Cameron Show listeners can save 30% on their first order. Just head to cornbreadhemp.com/warchant. Use code warchant at checkout. That's cornbreadhemp.com/warchant. Use code warchant.
Every life tells a story. At Cornerstone Memorials, we help you preserve that story with care, compassion, and craftsmanship. Whether it's a custom headstone, a beautiful monument, or a heartfelt inscription, our family is here to serve yours. Visit cornerstonememorials.org and discover how we've helped Tallahassee families honor their loved ones for over 50 years. Choose Cornerstone Memorials because the memories of the ones we love deserve to last forever.
Hey, this is for my homeowner friends out there. You know who you are. When you get your grass cut, you're going to inspect the work, make sure it's good. Get your house painted, check around every corner and edge, make sure that's done right. Get a new roof, get eyes on those shimmering new shingles. Get your septic tank cleaned. Bet you're not popping your head down in there to take a look around. You got to trust it's done right. I'll make it easy. Go see my friend Greg Miller Septic. They're my guys. I trust them, and you can too. MillerSeptic.com. That's it. That's the commercial. That's the whole thing. Check them out. That's MillerSeptic.com.
This time of year, we enjoy spending time outdoors in this beautiful North Florida climate until the mosquito attack begins.
Falls Termite and Pest Control can help you take your yard back. We have an affordable program to help keep mosquitoes away. And our program even helps with other pests like ticks.
Mosquitoes are a nuisance to you, and by carrying diseases such as heartworms, they can be harmful to your pets.
Learn more about how Paws can help protect you, your family, and your pets from mosquitoes. For the elimination of termites, pests like mosquitoes,
and a greener lawn too,
call Paws. We'll get them all.
Do you want to take your yard back by having a green and pest-free lawn?
At Paws, we understand the unique needs of your North Florida lawn, which is why we developed a program to address those concerns.
Our treatment program includes inspection, treatment, and education on best practices for optimized results while remaining environmentally conscious. An added benefit is that our lawn treatment is flea suppression, so having a greener lawn can help protect your pets too. For a greener lawn and the elimination of fleas too,
call Paws. We'll get them all.
Do you own a small business? Let me guess. You started your business so you could get bogged down with payroll and bookkeeping, office tasks, and other paperwork, right? Probably not. I'm Craig Collins with Collins Income Tax Solutions. Allow me to help you get out from behind your desk and get back to doing what you love. For any of your payroll, bookkeeping, or other business services, give me a call today and allow me to take it off your plate. You can find my contact information online at collinsincometaxsolutionsllc.com.
Hey, Hey, let me tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the battle's end. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653. Science-backed, technology tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Florida man and Bama, you need my picks for the U.S. Open. A little pizza money for that ass. Yeah, I'll get them to you. I'll get them to you. Not today. We don't do it on a Monday. I got to study.
You'll post them Thursday at 5 p.m.
Yeah, they'll be posted later. No, not posted at all. I got wagers. I got wagers. I'm ready to go. We got our Oakmont pool ready to go, Tom. I hope everybody's got their various pools ready to go. You and I are in a couple that we share. I'm in about 2 or 3 more above and beyond that. I have seen that rough. Somebody is going to be made to look a fool.
Many will. Yes. Rory won the Masters earlier this year with how many double bogeys? 3 or 4?
I think it's 3.
I might have gotten to 4. Either way,
yeah.
The winner of this year's U.S. Open will have more or less in the way of double bogey count than Rory McIlroy in the Masters. I'm going to go more. I think the winner of the U.S. Open might have 6 double bogeys, and that might still be just fine.
Man, I don't know, buddy. I feel like the whole thing will be staying out of that, right? Like you're going to have that happen. Like if you may be out there for a while throwing up a 9. I don't know that you're recovering from a 9.
Correct. But I think a double bogey is like a 1.5. You know, it's a bogey and a half with this setup. It's just insane. I don't know what the weather forecast is going to be. That needs to be considered before placing wagers and entering pools. Because I hope to hell it's not windy. If it is,
I was going to say weather window, Tommy.
All right,
that's what you do, buddy. It's a major week. It's a big time major week.
All right, here we go.
Give me weather window. Let's go.
The Google machine does not. Okay. Hold to the road.
Does not care for our search.
I'm making sure that it's the right Oakmont. There are many Oakmont Country Clubs. Well, no, because I typed in Oakmont Country Club weather. So I'm a little leery about this. But if it is, in fact, the right place, we're talking about low winds on Thursday. I don't care about rain. Low winds on Friday, topping off at 6 miles an hour.
Nothing. Not a concern, kids.
Saturday, a little bit rainy. Wind ain't bad. And then Sunday, there could be some thunderstorms. That suck, but the wind ain't bad then. So the wind will not be a factor, at least according to this weather window on a Monday. But then again, all that's been defunded, so who the hell knows if this is accurate?
That's right. By the way, Pirates 2, Phillies 1 on Paul Skeens Day yesterday. He allowed just 1 run in 7 innings and 7 2/3, I might add. Struck out 7. Did not, again, get the win. Couldn't get the What happens to a man, Paul Skeen, every time out is unfathomable, but it's what happens. And, man, we got the RBI single from Kutch when we needed it, but not when he needed it, not when Skeens needed it. Paul Skeens on the season, ladies and gentlemen, has a 1.88 ERA, and with that 1.88, he's 4-6.
This is some King Felix Hernandez type stuff going on here. That's a 3-game sweep that my Buccos put on the Phils. Woo.
Much obliged.
Woo. Coming through for you. We're actually playing pretty good baseball lately. I know I shouldn't have said it out loud. Should not have mentioned that that's the situation, but it is. They're playing much better right now. I've been and also for those that didn't see it over the weekend, and not that you guys care, but I was watching it when it happened, and the look on his face, the perfect example of what I was just talking about. Corbin Burns is going to have Tommy John surgery, and he knew it. You saw it on the hill when he knew it, and that was like, ooh, that's a toughie. That's also over the weekend, the Dodgers lost another pitcher. I've never seen anything like it. Now, we'll see. It's an elbow discomfort for Tony Gonsolin. And if you go back, Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, Sasaki, Gavin Stone, Sheehan, Kyle Hurt, the Ryan guy, now Gonsolin. Damn it, man. That's got to hurt your feelings.
It's impressive that they're essentially still the second best team in the National League, even with all of these injuries. That's how deep they are as a roster.
Yeah. I mean, they still have Yamamoto, who's really, really good, and Clayton Kershaw's back, and Dustin May's good. But you would not have started the year going, yeah, we're going to have the Wroblewski guy out there in our rotation. What? Yeah, so
Wasn't that the teacher in The Wire?
it's crazy. That's where we're at. Some guy in the minor leagues almost hit a 500-foot home run that I saw a replay of. You rarely see that. Did you watch it?
I did, yes. That makes national big league news if somebody hits a ball that far.
Roman Anthony is a prospect in the Red Sox organization, and I will admit that I didn't know a ton about him until I saw that home run and then it's 497 feet. You know, if you're a fan of baseball, you know that in baseball lore, there are those who say that Babe Ruth or name your player hit one 600 feet. Most people are like, probably not. Probably not. But over the years, there are a lot of home runs where before we had the video evidence and the ability with the technology to actually know exactly how far a ball would have gone or did go and all that, you have, the Willie Stargell once hit a ball, they say, with 558 feet. Maybe. I mean, we really don't know. Now you do. Now you can say we know exactly how far that would have gone had it not hit the light stanchion or did go. And this dude legit hit one 497 feet. And when you watch one that's legit 500 feet in essence, you really realize, holy moly, that's a bomb.
I still don't understand some of the home runs I've seen with my own eyes. And I'm sure they were 470 or 480.
Right.
They don't make sense.
Andres Galarraga hit one for the Marlins, you recall, in the upper deck. Yes, that was unreal.
Yes, on a nondescript weeknight.
Yes, and that ball, I've stood there, by the way, before the Marlins moved. I went and stood at that seat.
Yeah, it's like watching a great fielder. Braves fans, I'll give you this one. Jeff Francoeur, when they're throwing to the plate from a great distance, Roberto Clemente has one of the most famous clips in baseball history.
Mm-hmm.
The ball doesn't come down. It just continues to go and go an extra 20 feet more than your eyes think it can go.
Bo Jackson throwing out Harold Reynolds from left field.
Oh, yeah.
This is the stupidest throw of all time.
Yeah. Cespedes has one for the Athletics, too, where he misplayed the ball in the warning track, and then it's in the air.
Yeah.
Now, that one was more of a moonshot of a throw. It just had a lot behind it. But some of these ones that are lasers, you just think that how is gravity not kicking in at any point here? Yeah, same thing happens with home runs. I saw a home run at Shea Stadium. It was Piazza's last, and I can't find the distance on it. I have searched far and wide. There's a stanchion in left field that had a Keyspan logo on it. Remember that company?
Mm-hmm.
And it's behind the bleachers in left center. You know where that's what it was called, the Pepsi Porsche, the original Pepsi bleacher creatures.
I went to that stadium.
He hit it over it. I couldn't believe it. He hit it over it. I don't know how he did it.
What's his name? Your big-ass first baseman.
Mo Vaughn.
Yeah, Mo Vaughn hit one that yes.
That was the Budweiser sign in right field, 3/4 of the way up. Now, I saw that one. We were on the way to Cooperstown. We stopped into town in the Catskill Mountains that night and watched the game. Oh, I'll never forget that.
Well, I saw him hit one with one of my good friends, and I was sitting in the second deck behind home plate, and I still maintain, other than the home run that Jim Tomei hit in spring training down in St. Pete when he was with Cleveland. He hit a ball over the batter's eye, dead center. It was Al Lang Stadium. It became Florida Power Park, which is now where the Rowdies play. Anyhow, that ball over the center field batter's eye, cleared it by, it felt like 75 yards. I thought that may be the farthest home run I've ever seen.
Yeah, I saw Mo Vaughn. I was sitting in foul territory, Yankee Stadium, upper tank, for a Subway Series game, whatever year that was, 2005, 4. And he hit it over our heads by 25 rows.
Yes.
It was foul, longest foul ball I've ever seen by a good sight. It was unbelievable. The whole crowd for 10 minutes was buzzing. Like, oh, my God.
If by chance we go off the air, it's apparently a deluge outside right now as we speak doing this show. I can hear it in my headset. It's so loud, which is very rare.
Either that or Mo Vaughn is taking batting practice.
Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas. Yeah, they got everything you need for pool maintenance, chemicals, cleaners, pumps, vacuums, nets, covers, all that good stuff. You know what else they have now? Besides the best in hot tubs? Yeah, they got cold plunge tubs now. People are pumped about the cold plunging. They recognized it. More importantly, Hot Springs recognized it and said, okay, we're down. We'll make the very best hot tubs and cold plunge tubs. They got them here in Tallahassee right now in stock. You want to go see what I'm talking about? They're really kind of quite nice. I want one. I'd like to purchase one. I've yet to go over there and utilize the invite. I've been given the invite to jump in and test this tub, Tom, but I have to admit I'm being a bit of a coward. Brian said, come on in. I'll open the doors to you before the public, before everybody's in here. It'll just be you. Nobody will watch. It's just you jumping in this cold tub. 47 degrees, 48 degrees. You hop right in. See if you can do the full 30 seconds. Some people do up to 3 minutes. We'll just do 30 seconds for you up to your neck. Hang in there. Breathe. However you respond, however foolish you want to look. Don't worry about it. I said, oh, I'll get to it. Yeah. Can't wait. Thanks for the invite. I should film it, shouldn't I? Make fun of myself. I know. They make it easy on you, whether you want a hot tub or a cold plunge tub. Either way, Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas. If you're ready to relax, they're ready to show you how. That is Greer Road where they're located. Go see them today on Greer Road. It's really quite affordable. Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas.
This is meteorologist Paul Frombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Chance of thunderstorms this afternoon. Otherwise, cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun. Daytime highs approaching 90. Winds out of the southwest, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies tonight. Slight chance for storms, 75. Thunderstorms likely tomorrow, 89. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 81.
Did you know that the survivability of a metal roof far exceeds that of a traditional shingle roof? At Metal Roofing Sales of Tallahassee, we have new state-of-the-art roll formers that produce the highest quality Versa panel, PBR panel, and standing seam options. And we will guarantee to match or beat any local competitor's pricing. We're a family-owned business, ready to offer you the best sales and installation service in the area. And don't forget about our veterans and first responders discounts. Call Metal Roofing Sales today, 850-536-9123, or visit us online at metalroofing.sales.net.
Games for Less, Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used games, as well as new and used consoles like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Atari 2600, PS4, and PS5. You name it. Locally owned and operated since 1994, trade-ins are not only welcome, but Games for Less pays more for your trade-ins than the big chain stores. That's not all. Games for Less now buys and sells new and used vinyl records to boot. George loves the Beatles, by the way. Reserve all the new releases today at Games for Less, conveniently located in the Walmart Supercenter Plaza on Appalachian Parkway.
He's the kind of dad who's always there for late night walks and talks, early morning rides, and every moment in between. This Father's Day, we want to honor a truly great dad with the ultimate dad prize. Free tickets to see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a free round of golf for 4, and a well-deserved steak dinner. Nominate a dad who's made a difference in your life. Share his story at realtalk93.com today. Brought to you by the law offices of Basic Brooks, your personal injury attorneys.
There he is. Haven't seen this guy since, what was it? Oh, shoot. U2 at the Sphere in Las Vegas, baby.
Hey, how about that, man? Wasn't that fun?
Good show. Good show. Everything about it. Nearly perfect. Nearly perfect.
I had everything I could possibly want.
I wanted one thing, couldn't find it, and I looked everywhere. No Cubans.
What do you mean? was
Cubans.
There was Cubans.
No, I didn't see any Cubans.
Dude,
No.
I'm sure there was Cubans there. I mean,
No, I walked around. There was a moment right before the show. I thought, got to find some Cubans. Nothing.
Dude, there's Cubans. There was Cubans. I'm sure there was Cubans.
In Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas.
No Cubans in Vegas.
There's Cubans in Vegas, man.
Eddie, there were no Cubans.
Chef.
The sandwich. There were no Cuban sandwiches. You're Cuban. Of course I know there were Cubans there.
Oh, the sandwich. Yeah, no, there probably wasn't many there in Vegas.
No Cubans.
No, not yet.
Florida, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Yeah, we could use the otter floating every time we do the cornbread, as well as the pinch a penny, as others are pointing out. And there he is. There's my man, floating otter. I got a bunch of people who were, frustrated in the moment last night, who talked about this season-ending loss as if it were a crushing disappointment and bitter disappointment to the thought that maybe that they were going to win the national title. And I just wanted to address that. I didn't get back to everybody because in the moment I get everybody's emotional. It was very late last night. I'm like, okay, look, I wish they hadn't lost either, and it sucks. And really kept going back to Friday night thinking that had they just taken care of business there and closed out that game, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But I never thought Florida State was going to win the national title this year. I thought last year's team had a chance, and they did. They came very, very close. But were you of the mindset going into the series against Oregon State? I'm not saying that I didn't think they could win that series. I did think they could win that series, and they could have. But, I get that the bracket opened up because of how many upsets there have been. But the holes on this year's team were such that they weren't going away. You were still going to have a lack of arms, and you were still going to be in a situation where if you didn't get elite starting pitching in all of the games from your three starters, you were going to be behind the eight ball. You were going to have a hard time competing with the best teams. In particular, like if at any point you would have had to meet up with Arkansas.
Right. They were on the other half. So
right.
The only way you're going to see them is in the best of three.
Right. And I would have loved to have taken my chances in that because baseball's a funny game and who knows, maybe you pull the upset. But you would not have thought we were going to beat Arkansas.
I need to remember how I felt a month ago, which was it would be an achievement to get back to the College World Series.
Yeah.
And last year's team, when we were in the early May, it was expected that we were going to go to the College World Series. Different. It was different.
Very different.
That lineup was so disgustingly awesome to watch, disgusting for the opponent. Oh, man. I fully expected to go to Omaha and make some noise. This year, a month ago, I thought, I got to find somebody who can get outs. We need some dudes who can get outs. If we do that, then maybe I like the way this lineup is trending. The problem was twofold. I was beginning to think about stars aligning because stars are aligning for somebody out there.
Oh, sure.
Because all of these national seeds are losing. They just are losing left and right. And you're seeing parity in this year's game more than baseball typically provides, at least the results to that end. So I was starting to believe there. And then if you piece it together this way, you think about Jamie Arnold shoving, Mendez shoving, and then Vellini does, even when you lose game one. In that moment, I'm thinking, well, good God, if Jamie pitches well again in game two.
Yeah, they're going to get that.
Now we've got three dudes that we can lean on. Now, it lasted 2/3 of an inning last night. That little world and bubble that I was living in where I was thinking we have three starters pitching well all at the same time. Now all we need is Lodi's to get his act together, and he had already had a base hit in the first inning, rifled down the left field.
And you felt very good all of a sudden. You're like, here we
and
go.
Max goes Oppo, and he goes yard Oppo. I was thinking, oh, my God. So, yeah, I think
snapshot.
Yes to both columns. Yes to both columns.
I just was curious. There are different levels of this. I've covered this team for so long. I've had a lot of degrees of disappointment. You never want to see them lose. I mean, obviously, you want them to win the national championship. It's been evasive. We have not been able to do it. But there have been years where we went out to Omaha. I'm like, this team's not. They're not good enough to win the College World Series. And when they don't, you're like, okay. There have been years where they absolutely were. And those are the tougher years to take. Those are the ones where you And you start examining the process a little bit more. This you got bit in a way that you thought you might get bit. You just didn't have enough arms.
Agreed. This just hurts a little bit more. I'll be a broken record if you were here for the first hour. Sorry. I just love the sport more. I like being involved in the sport more. And when we're in it, obviously it's better, but it's a good one. This is the level of play is enjoyable across the board. And even some of those years that we made it, remember the Mustache Mafia team 13 years ago and the one in 2010. I mean, those guys were all plucky underdogs. And even when we went a couple years ago and we won a game 1-0, 2-1, it was Arkansas, then Michigan were the teams we played. I think the two key teams that we played.
Yes.
The sport was just so one way or the other. It was either dead bat or way too live bat. We have found the perfect balance in college baseball. So even though last year's loss to Tennessee will be infinitely more disappointing than this year's loss in the Super Regional, this is one of the more painful Super Regionals I can remember.
Well, I guess my point would be, I just pulled up, I'm looking at our results over the last few years. There are seasons, like if you just go back to last year's champion, unfortunately, was Tennessee. But, I thought we were on par with that Tennessee club. And what does that say about what we were? Well, I'll tell you what it says. Tennessee won the whole thing. You know what else Tennessee did? They were 60-13. They were elite. Nobody was stunned they won the World Series, and you were that close. It was a very different looking team and feeling team that could match up with that 60 win. I mean, that's crazy. That team was loaded. That Tennessee team was. There have been other years where you're like, ooh, I don't know. Listen, the Vanderbilt team that won in 2019, they won 59 games or whatever it was. We're like, oh, they're loaded. That they got everything you need. This wasn't that team. We weren't one of those, this year. I mean, we've had teams like that before, but this wasn't that.
We have also seen years in Omaha where the Red Seas part, and somebody answers the fact that for whatever reason, there's a domino effect of favorites going down. And it for 48 hours, it felt that way. A continuation from the regionals. The regionals was who's left standing. But then when North Carolina loses yesterday,
that was stunning.
I mean, man, the moment that game finishes, I am now fired the hell up to flip over to the Louisville Super Regional and see if Miami can't make a run. And I'll say that out loud. That's what I was looking to see. See if Miami can make a run. Because I don't care about the rivalries. Whatever serves our purpose best to win a national title is what
that's all I care about, right?
In a given moment. So I'm looking, and I'm not screaming for Miami, but I'm watching closely. I'm saying, they had first and second in the ninth inning too.
Yes.
And Louisville had to bring in another pitcher. And I'm thinking, maybe we get one of the gap here. And the next thing you know, and then you get the opportunity to beat Miami in game one. Oh, it was great to dream of. But
because I don't care at all about my conference. I care about my team. I care about the Florida State University Seminoles. I don't care about the ACC. I will be pulling for Murray State tonight at 7:00, and I will be watching. I know you're going to tune out.
Wow, you can run back to it that soon, huh?
I can go back to seeing Murray State and Duke tonight at 7 because what are we doing? If Murray State makes it to the College World Series, how cool is that?
I know somebody who went to Murray State, oddly enough.
Well, I'm not disparaging Murray State.
No,
it's like, I mean, you're like, really? Okay. Murray State, you're out here doing it. They dropped 18 on Duke yesterday?
18 or 19, yeah.
That's nuts. Now, listen, Murray State, not for nothing. I know none of us paid attention to them because why would you? They did go, this isn't one of those Cinderella runs like you saw with the Arkansas Pine Bluff or whatever the hell that was that scared LSU. That team was sub 500.
Little Rock.
Yeah. But the Murray State Racers, sir, went 43-15 this year. They're no shaky upstart. They went 43-15, and they hit over 300 as a team, and they've hit for a ton of power. But anyhow, that's an interesting little team, kind of, and it's a cool story. And I don't care if Duke goes. I don't need another. Somebody's going to be like, I hope another ACC team. Screw the rest of this league. I don't care anything about this league.
I've got a very front runner-ish level of energy because the sleep schedule has been thrown into the abyss. Stanley Cup final tonight.
Yeah.
If it's interesting, I'll stick around. If
the
it's
first
not,
two games have been incredible.
Yes. But if it's 3-1 Panthers, end of 2, good night.
Well, you didn't learn your lesson from 3-1 Panthers in game 1 that turned into a victory for Edmonton?
No, it ain't happening again. Not on there. Not in their barn. No,
Okay. All right. We'll see. I won't. 3-1 isn't going to get me to turn that off. 4-1 might. 4-1 might. But 3. Well, you're tired. I'm not tired.
Yeah.
I feel good.
I'm tired, Ringo.
I'm frustrated. I wanted to continue to play. I was excited, but hey, it happened. We lost. I'm frustrated. I want to see aspects change of something in terms of roster management and what we're going to do. But no, I did not. And I think it's because when you give up, somebody said this online. I don't know who it was, but one of fellow Noel was like, it's much easier to handle what happened last night than it is what happened on Friday night. And that I wholeheartedly agree with. I mean, they scored 13 runs in 3 innings. From that point forward, you were pretty much of the mindset you're going to lose. I mean, the chances that you're going to get to, now they eventually scored a 14th run, but the chances you're going to get to 14 at the time, mentally, like, I understand we kept putting men on base and giving ourselves opportunities, and they did fight like hell, and they ended up clubbing 17 hits and 10 runs, which should have been good enough. But like I said, when you give up 13 runs in 3 innings, you're like, well, if this wasn't my job, I'd go to bed. I mean, I wanted to at that point. I was like, they're not going to come back. I'm going to wake up tomorrow and the final's going to be 15-7 is what I kind of thought in my head, you know? And then I went, but you got to stay up. And I did. And I watched the whole thing. Was there any point during the pseudo comeback you thought,
yeah. No, I honestly, was I watching pitch for pitch with great gusto? No, but you know when you stack rallies together,
yeah,
there's an opening there, and that ballpark was playing small. I keep coming back to that.
Oh, yeah,
if it was Ameritrade, no, we're done.
You're done. Yeah, I agree with that. Final hour, forthcoming bonus hour. Stay with us, Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1861686.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
There's nothing like relaxing in a hot tub after a long day. But if you don't have one, you're truly missing out. Hot tubs and spas have tremendous health benefits, besides just helping you relax. Like improving your sleep, they help with pain relief. They help to better your cardiovascular health, and so much more. And this season is the perfect season to finally buy what you've been wishing for. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas has the hot tubs you need for the price you want. Come shop our huge 12,000 square foot showroom and save today. There's over 50 hot tubs in stock right now, so you won't have to wait weeks on end for that delivery to finally come to town. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come visit our huge showroom at 2473 Greer Road with over 50 hot tubs to choose from. You'll be glad you did.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
WVFT Gretna, Tallahassee. This is Real Talk 93.3. More of the Jeff Cameron Show is coming up next. Your sports action update on Real Talk 93.3 with all the latest odds from Vegas.
Oregon State wins the Corvallis Super Regional with a 14-10 win over Florida State. The Beavers advance to the College World Series. They're plus 650 to win the title. Arkansas, the 2-1 favorite after eliminating defending national champion Tennessee 11-4 in the Fayetteville Super Regional. Chris Sale on the mound for the Atlanta Braves today. A $1.90 road favorite at Milwaukee, and Aaron Savali plus 160, 7.5 flat the total. Tampa Bay Rays minus 107 to the Boston Red Sox minus 113, 9 over at Fenway Park. Scotty Scheffler, the plus 275 favorite, with the 125th playing of the U.S. Open that tees off this week at Oakmont. $250 bonus and you open up a G-Bank Visa signature card. Visa.com/G-Bank. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
It's Macy's Friends and Family Sale, which means if you're shopping for summer, you can get insider deals on our best brands, even ones that aren't usually on sale, like an extra 30% off Hugo Boss, Calvin Klein, Levi's, and more. Plus, get 15% off beauty and fragrance. And with Father's Day just around the corner on June 15th, it's a great time to shop for Dad. Stop by Macy's today and walk out with the perfect gift. Don't miss Friends and Family. Ends Monday, only at Macy's. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Progressive knows owning a home can be hard, but not always. Like when you're relaxing on your patio, enjoying a nice, quiet evening. So quiet. Except for the sound of the neighbor's party. Which you said you'd go to if you weren't busy. And your quiet night on the patio, that's not exactly busy, is it? Maybe you should just stay inside. At least Progressive's Home Quote Explorer lets you easily compare rates, so shopping for insurance is the easiest part of owning a home. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Did you know indoor air is 5 times more contaminated than outdoor air? E&B Heating and Air Conditioning offers plasma air cleaning solutions for continuous air purification throughout your home, eliminating harmful pollutants. Contact E&B today so you can breathe better tomorrow.
Siri, tell me a joke. How many apples grow on an apple tree? All of them.
All jokes aside, the trained professionals at Mac & More Systems are serious about Apple products. For all your Mac repairs, call Mac & More Systems at 894-3622. 894-3622.
Hey man, have you heard the sound? Pentalco Jewelry is the best in town. So rings, diamonds, earrings, bracelets, and more. Pentalco Jewelry, jewelry store.
When was the last time you randomly did something nice for someone that means a lot to you? Now, I say this every day at the end of my show for everybody to be a better person today than you were yesterday. Well, one way to do that is to drop into Pentalco and get a gift for someone who deserves it. It'll brighten their day, their week, maybe even their year. You don't have to wait for a holiday or special occasion, so don't wait to go check out a true local gem, serving Tallahassee since 1988. Now, sing along with me, and I'll see you at Pentalco.
On the front line, fighting the insanity of the woke, it's Matt and Brett Oster.
Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
State Falls on the road late last night. Season ends. We talked about it, obviously. And disappointed to say the least. Didn't have to wait long for that disappointment to wash over you. They even give you a shot in the arm to start the first inning. Like, here we go. That home run the other way, as Tom pointed out last hour. You're like, yeah, he's seeing it again. Here we go. Had the Lodi single. Yeah, okay, there we go. He's starting to hit. You're like, this is going to be all right. But alas, West Bend has had nothing. That is my one I will say about last night specifically, because we can all go back to Friday night, and we have. And that one, second guessing is warranted, of course. People always do when things don't work out, but I get it. A lot of ways you could have looked at that. And we did talk about the base running prior to that 4-1 situation in the ninth. It was pretty apparent. And they have even more advanced numbers than we do at home watching the broadcast to tell them what is visually true. They don't have to trust their eyes solely, and they're all great baseball guys, so they know what they're looking at. But they can look at the numbers. In short, it'd be a bit like looking at a TrackMan for a golfer. And something's off, something's not right, and he knows it, and then he's able to empirically say, oh, it is. This, and this tells me I'm not hitting the ball flush. I had to have known by what pitch that Mendez had nothing. Because, I think it was evident from the jump that he was in trouble.
Yeah, probably 15, 20. Because I think part of it is he's elevating all of his breaking stuff early. It starts with the second pitch of the game, a breaking ball that's high. And that could be nerves. That's the same thing as watching a quarterback play. You know, that's a kid making his first start, a kid on the road in a hostile environment. You're always looking for the high miss over the middle early.
Yeah.
That means you're nervous. And you wonder if he's going to shake off the nerves, especially even after the first run scores. All right, nothing is F'd here, man. Let's just make a pitch, get out of it, and let's get rolling. But I think just looking at the velocity of the fastball early is probably the indicator to,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That fastball velocity scared me early, and then, like you said, he didn't have a secondary pitch, and he was elevating when he was attempting to throw the secondary pitch. Oregon State obviously knew.
Well, and some people, this is the thing you'll never know. Let's say the kid makes a mistake, swings at a pitch he shouldn't, and you get out of that inning. Maybe it is nerves that is in the way, and then you go back out to the hill and you look like a different guy. That happens for aces, like MLB aces, all the time. The adage, for decades was get them early, because if you can't get them in the first inning and you let them get settled in, we got real problems on our hands. So maybe it happens, but he just never could get past that out. That last out that he needed couldn't happen. And it's two-thirds of an inning on the ledger.
That's the only question I have. I think if you're going to second guess some things there, once it happens, once you've given up 7 runs in the first, give up 5 home runs in the game, they hit too many kill shots. They had too many moments. They weren't hitting doubles in the gap. These are bombs. And, you can't defend that. That's problematic. I just wondered early because I thought, and I don't know how quickly, I'm sure they knew very early, like, not a good sign. Got a problem here. He's throwing 91, and he can't locate anything else. We need an atom ball. That's what we need. We need an atom ball, because I was wondering that. Hey, listen, at the end of the day, when you do the big picture discussion of the season, you say, look, they replaced James Tibbs, Marco Dinges, Cam Smith, Carson Dorsey. I could go on. They had a lot of guys that they had to replace, Ferrer and all these other guys. So many talented players. And so they did a good job of that, to have the season that they did, to Really, they were, a game away from being back in Omaha, having replaced all those guys. Now, I will say it'll be interesting because you have Jamie Arnold, who may be the very first pick in the draft, could be the player of the year, right? Pitcher of the year, I mean. And then you had Alex Lodies, who was in the running for the Golden Spike, so you're going to lose him too. And then, of course, you had arguably the freshman of the year in Miles Bailey. There's a lot of talent there. It's a lot of talent there that you use to survive the loss of all that elite talent to the bigs. And you will not have two of the three I just mentioned back.
Yeah, it's Max Farrow, Lodies are the big three.
Yeah.
And then, of course, on the hill, Jamie. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a kick. That's the task for these guys now, is how do you replace that? And we'll start having the recruiting conversation for Florida State baseball when you're looking at the high school ranks. Like, what do they bring in? Is that where it needs to be? I checked during the break. If you look at college baseball recruiting, not where it needs to be here currently. Now, again, we'll see. But remember, Arnold did not commit to Link. And the one thing Mike Martin Jr., everybody agreed upon, did was recruit and work his ass off in recruiting. We'll have to watch very closely to see if they sustain a high level of recruiting here.
Hey, man, I just want to be mad about the game, not about the future existence of the program.
I'm not. Listen, I just got done saying they did a good job, but there's a lot to look now. This is when you compile the names. Like, if you want to take for the last 2 years, if you just want to take Jamie Arnold and Lodies and then add them to the list of Dingus and Tibbs and Smith and Ferrer and guys like that, well, then you've lost a lot in a very condensed period of time. Let's see what replaces that. Now, you got it. You got kind of almost what I would consider a hometown discount in that you got Miles Bailey, who wanted to be at Florida State, played locally here. In your backyard, you have one of the best freshmen in the country. You got a little lucky with that one. I'm just watching, 2 fingers to my eyes. I want to see this, buddy. I want to see.
Telling me we suck at baseball recruiting.
I'm
I don't
telling
need that
you,
on a Monday after elimination.
Listen, think about it this way, too. You only got Farrow because Dad played here.
Okay, so there's no accomplishments. No accomplishments.
Did I say that? Did I say that?
You're hinting at.
I'm talking about recruiting.
Right.
Not the season. The season was very successful. I'm talking about recruiting. Show me the big-time recruits that he's...
I don't have the energy to do that today.
It's not there. Is why. Not the energy nor the guy. So it's like, let's wait and see.
Oh, you're coming for Link on a Monday.
I am not. I said if there's one thing I want to watch very closely, listen, I just got done saying Link has done an awesome job and how quickly he has gotten us back to a place where you are going to expect that Florida State will compete both for the conference championship or be in the running for the conference championship every year, and obviously to host in the postseason and to make another go at Omaha. I think that's where the program's headed. I think they do a lot of things exceptionally well. I think there are areas that they can improve. Most people would agree with that. They're not a perfect staff at this point. I mean, that bullpen development is shoddy. Would we disagree with that? I mean, we're not seeing enough development from players in the bullpen. Not every player, most players that come here don't want to be in the bullpen. I get all that. But at some point, you relegate based on who performs the best. And you say, all right, well, I got to foster and build this up. And I think that's an area of concern. And I would look at recruiting and say, okay, let's see how we're doing in recruiting now that you've lost. Like, there's going to be an exodus back-to-back years of an awful lot of talent.
I think we could agree that high school recruiting and portal for baseball is its own animal. That's quite different, significantly different than it is for football, right? I mean,
yeah,
the market for transfer portal is always going to be there every year through the JUCO ranks and the lower level ranks for baseball, in a way that it won't be for football. You're not going to find an elite left tackle, but you can find an elite center fielder, first baseman, power hitting, whatever you want, power pitcher on the market every year in college baseball. There's too much movement, too many late bloomers in the sport.
We won't. The only reason I bring up this other aspect of recruiting is that I think, well, that's true, Tom. We don't have the kind of NIL money in baseball that, say, LSU does, or that Arkansas does, or that any number of schools in the SEC do. And you're not always going to be able to get those guys if it's us versus Texas for a player and it comes down to money. So you better be developing guys and you better be recruiting at a high level in the high school ranks to boot. So that's a similar discussion. And it's something where, by the way, I trust him to do that.
Yeah, that would be the thing where I would run to their defense because Lodis wasn't a fully realized version of himself.
That's right. They've done a good job developing. He got better. Yep.
Jamie Arnold says the same thing about Posey. He says, I wouldn't be here without him. He said it Saturday after his dominant start at Oregon State. That there's a few examples where the approach, I remember these articles being written last year, Ferrer talking about it, Tibbs talking about it, how the approach, the handcuffs were taken off a little bit in terms of what they could look for, what they could do at the plate, and they felt a lot better about the situation that they had under this particular coaching staff. There's some things there. A lot of things
they can coach. I'm not questioning whether or not they can coach. I'm specifically just talking about recruiting.
All right.
I'm going to watch it closely. They can obviously coach. We strike out more than we should. You wouldn't disagree with that.
I wouldn't, but our ops this year was a hell of a lot closer to the previous year's group than I ever thought it would be. With all that we lost.
Agreed. So there's a trade-off there. They don't like to get the 2 strikes. They want to be aggressive early in counts, and they strike out too much, way too much. And so there's a balance to try to strike there. It's difficult. You give and take. I mean, I all I'm saying is you can point to something that you say is successful, but also could get better. And you just have that conversation. And I think Link analyzes the program that way, which is why this wouldn't be a conversation that pissed him off. It would be a conversation where he'd say, well, here's my retort, or here's my counter, or yeah, you're right, this has got to get better. I mean, I give him a ton of credit for, he talks about those things out loud, almost like he's thinking about it when he talks about areas that they need to get better in and areas that, maybe they have improved or where they took a step back. I know this. I know that when you talk to people in baseball, if we're going to talk about philosophies, the biggest difference between the ACC and the SEC, say typically in pitching, is that in the SEC, they throw fastball. They throw their best pitch, locate it. That's why the big boy from North Carolina, who just killed us with fastballs, was very SEC-like. That's what they do. They attack with fastball location. Whereas, we don't throw a ton of fastballs. I texted you the stat over the weekend, was the 5th fewest in big.
You said you were going to, but okay, now I know what it was.
Yeah, it's something like that. It's pretty amazing. We don't throw a lot of fastball. That's a philosophical choice. Maybe it's because you've got a kid who has the best slider in the country. That's your ace.
Yeah.
And then obviously, you know what Vellini is, right? He is a crafty lefty. But yeah, I would like to see us out of the pen have guys who attack with the fastball a little bit more than what we have.
That's fair.
And maybe they'll get those guys, and maybe that's an adjustment that they can make. Because I think fastball location and coming after people with your best pitch, that's what's so upsetting about last night with the injury to Prescott. I don't know what the injury is. I don't think we've been told. But if he's out for any reason, because if that's as bad as your worst fears, well, damn it, you just found a guy.
Well, we had several other guys with live fastballs, but none of them were ever under control.
Couldn't locate.
They couldn't locate.
Locate. Fastball location is important.
We have 3 or 4 guys outside of Prescott that throw mid-90s coming out of the game, so it's improved. To me, I don't look at it the same way that I look at football. And football, there's a big difference about what's available on the market. There's a big difference, I think, about the expense in the market. You can find a lot of baseball players in a given offseason that can help your team. And for Link to be able to replenish all of the power that they lost and come within shouting distance, offensively speaking, of what they did last year is very impressive. And I see the path for replenishment this offseason. We just went through at the top 4 or 5 in the order. Like, they've already got that done. Like, you have the top half of the order all set. Now, how you finish it all out, what you do with catcher, those are legitimate questions, your corner outfield spots. But I think you've got defensive options up the middle. And I'm talking about everything from middle infield to center field. Depends on how much you want to trade for average and power. I think at shortstop currently you got a couple options, but I don't know if the power's there. It's certainly not going to be Lodis. That's going to be a drop off. But with Chase and Bailey and Fisher, I always want to call him Cal or Raleigh because of Cal.
I wish we had a Cal Raleigh. That'd be
too.
cool. Your catcher problems would be answered.
But you could go Carnes, Hankerson, or the new kid and
Delamalore out. Yeah.
there's enough pop. There's enough pop in that lineup.
There is, because Miles Bailey is going to be, if you force teams to pitch to him because you protect him, then you're going to get a guy who hits 20 home runs.
And if Plain's not a unicorn, I mean, like, okay, so now you've got a lot of good pieces there. You got speed at the top of the lineup as well. I could see it. And if it's Vellini Mendez to start your rotation on a weekend and you're battling for 3, okay, now you need bullpen and maybe another bench player or 2.
One thing to note, and I'll put a ribbon on the season and we'll move on from college baseball, save for like a drive-by conversation of what's happening in the College World Series. There's no guarantee Vellini comes back. Vellini may not come back. There's a thought that he's what he is, and it's time to get your pro career started. You're never going to be an elite draft pick. You're going to be somewhere in those, 15, 16, 17th rounds. And at your age, at that point, with what you are, it's time to just start your career as a pro. So we don't know that. Let's hope that he does come back. That would be ideal. Mendez will be back. Let's hope he can get past whatever that was last night. Goodness gracious. That'll be a mental hurdle, but hey, I'm sure he can do it. He's got good stuff, so I'm here for that. And then I don't know what they'll do with their third pitcher. I mean, there's a thought that Abraham, they'll give him a chance to be a starter. I've talked to a couple people who seem to think that they'll give Abraham a chance to be a starter.
He's got enough.
They're bringing in the kid from FAU.
Right. He's got 3 pitches. Abraham does at minimum.
Yeah.
You could see that.
So, yeah, that makes some sense. I'm just I'm enjoying this so much. I want that sustained excellence to be what we talk about on a regular basis. Like, what do you do? This is the threshold, right? This is where you get you're not a victim of your success, and that in order for it to continue, you got to look critically and be able to call it out for what it is. You got real strengths, done a good job, program's now in a really good place. What do we do to ensure moving forward that we're able to sustain this level of excellence, that year in and year out we're chasing Omaha and not because look around. I mean, teams fall off a cliff. They're good, and then all of a sudden you don't hear from them for 5 years.
That's the one thing I'd say about pitching this year is, we were so mired, especially in the middle part of the year with our own failures in the bullpen. But then you look around the country and not a lot of guys can get outs. There are some bullpens that are better, and you're trying to become elite. But there are plenty of bullpens or pitching staffs. If you get into a game 3, like this past weekend in a super regional setting, or in the regional setting before it, if you're in the losers bracket, man, there's a lot of high scores out there. Oh, yeah. No, trying to find that kind of depth is really, really tough. I mean, you saw, unfortunately, back in 2017, Kevin O'Sullivan had arms for days coming out of that bullpen for Florida. Shoot, you look at the stuff they had this year. I mean, these kids come in for the midweeks, and you see them on the weekends too, and they're throwing 98, and they've got a 6 ERA. Like, what? How?
Yeah, there's been a Vanderbilt team or two that did all of that. The Tennessee team, pretty good. LSU 2 years ago. So there's been some of that. But, yeah, that's the area where I think we can grow because we don't have that kind of depth out of the bullpen. That's the biggest weakness, is I would say that. Like, you don't have it. And some of these teams, because your ultimate goal is to win the national championship. And it's a hell of a lofty goal, and only one team can. So, you're going to be more often than not bitterly disappointed. But what gives you the best chance to do it? Well, it's what Arkansas has done now, man. I feel like they just go to the pen and constantly roll out a guy who's going to be pitching in the bigs.
And they might finally have all of their ducks in a row. They might have the attention of everybody because, again, their reputation this year was easily the most talented team, but they keep losing series. So what are we supposed to do? What gives? What's wrong with Arkansas? They might finally have everything in line right now. I'd say that's easily the biggest miscalculation this year by the coaching staff, preseason to reality, was they thought that
100%
the bullpen was stocked and they had an abundance of options, and they didn't. What Link was worried about, the quality of left-handed at bats, is how far this team is going to go. Well, the quality of those left-handed at bats ended up being just fine. Miles Bailey had little valleys and tremendous peaks, then little valleys and tremendous peaks. And Harrelson was fine, and Max, for the most part this season, was fine. He had a little slump towards the end of the year, but that was a question that he had, and it was answered. But then the other part is they both thought, I'm talking head coach and pitching coach, that they had a lot of guys, and they didn't. So if there is a process thing that they can tweak there, that would be the thing to go back and take a look at.
My friends at Tried and True, I believe my good buddy Don will be in town this week meeting with business owners throughout this great city, the capital city. And, look, we could talk about, your business being on an ad board somewhere like the Corner Pocket, for example. Put an ad board up at the Corner Pocket. Next thing you know, you walk in there and you see what your business does and what kind of services are offered. Next one rolls in there. That's all great. It's a chance to promote your business. But they're a point of sale company, and obviously people process payments. You got to do it as a business, and you just want to trust the folks that are providing that service for you, that they're obviously doing so effectively and safely. Tried and True guarantees that. And also perhaps saving, thus making you money. That's a good way to look at it as well. If you want to learn more about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, they're in town again this week. They've done it for several businesses. Heard nothing but the best back from those businesses that made the switch to Tried and True. 844-463-6653. That's 844-463-6653. If you want, because you're driving about town and you can't write this down, just remember 844-I'm-4-NOL. 844-I'm-4-NOL. And if you're watching, of course, you can use the QR code Tried and True Consulting.
God gave us two ends, one to think with and one to sit on. Success in life depends on which one you use. Heads, you win. Tails, you lose. Hi, I'm Rick Hughes, host of The Flop Line. Heard every Sunday morning here at 7:30 a.m. on Real Talk 93.3 Tallahassee Real Talk Station. Come join me 30 minutes of motivation, inspiration, and some education as I seek to reveal God's plan by teaching 10 unique problem-solving devices. Every Sunday morning, 7:30 a.m., 93.3 Real Talk Tallahassee.
Hey everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Housing NMLS 373031.
Looking to upgrade your backyard, your business, or even your life? Then you've got to check out Southeast Portable Buildings right here in Tallahassee.
That's right. Southeast Portable Buildings has everything: sheds, cabins, carports, and now beautiful decks to go with them.
Imagine a brand new storage building and a deck out front. Perfect for that morning coffee or for your family gatherings.
Need something custom? No problem. They'll work with you to find exactly what fits your needs. Big or small, simple or stylish.
And with easy financing options, you can make your dream space happen sooner than you think.
Southeast Portable Buildings, where you're not just getting a building, you're getting a lifestyle upgrade. Give our friends a call today, 850-580-6400. That's 850-580-6400.
Southeast Portable Buildings.
Big buildings.
Big decks.
Big dreams.
Southeast Portable Buildings on West Tennessee Street, just north of Capitol Circle in Tallahassee.
I got a fever, and the only prescription is more cowbell.
Do you have spring fever? Your only prescription is the Lawn Johns. Hi, it's Mark from the Lawn Johns. We can make your landscape more appealing by providing you with award-winning lawn care. With 4 levels of service, the Lawn Johns offers you more choices than the rest. More flowers, more mulch, or more pine straw all means that your home or office will be more beautiful than ever. So if you've got spring fever, go to thelawnjohns.com or just look for our big purple truck.
I gotta have more cowbell.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com.
If you're driving a car or truck with an expired warranty and suddenly lost your transmission or needed a full engine repair, would a $4,000 repair bill leave you stranded? I'm Danica Patrick. Don't get caught off guard with a vehicle breakdown. Choose the company I trust. Endurance. No matter the mileage, if your vehicle is less than 20 years old, Endurance offers auto protection plans for any budget. Protection on the drivetrain, electrical, transmission, AC, and more. plus 24/7 roadside assistance and rental car reimbursement on any plan. Endurance handles everything from making the claim to paying the certified mechanic of your choice. Act now and get 1 full year of elite benefits, a $2,000 value, free.
Call for your fast free quote today. Call 800-298-2007. That's 800-298-2007. 800-298-2007.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
All right, buddy. You got a favorite? Somebody you feel great about? U.S. Open week. Here we go.
Ooh.
I know. I know.
Driver accuracy. That's the guy.
By the way, you saw my boy Ludwig played well this weekend. He was right there.
I like him for a top 10.
It was good that he found he found his game at the right time.
You might be able to get 2-1 on a top 10 from Ludwig, and it's at least going to be, what do you think, plus 180?
Yeah, I would think. You're right. I have to look into where we're at with that. But tonight I start doing the deep dive. I start fishing. I will give you guys some pizza money picks because that's always fun. Everybody likes to do that. I will absolutely do that, and then I'll probably find a way to parlay that into the big money bet, Tom. This is it. I'm retiring after this weekend. U.S. Open winnings. No, I really want to do well with this. I'm excited about it. I'm hoping that I've got my data golf entry, Tom, will pay off. I have yet to have the big win this year. I've had a couple of little guys. Last year I had the big one.
Trying to find very quickly driving distance leaders, and I'm not seeing anything quickly. Maybe you get the Sam Burns revenge tour for missing the 5-footer yesterday. That would be, hey, you're looking for a bet to retire on. You know, betting Sam Burns to win the US
Open.
You could retire on that one.
I was looking at the 2026 NFL draft quarterback class, top prospects to know. Number 1 on that list was Drew Aller. Carson Beck is number 2. Cade Klubnik is number 3. So we played 2 of those right off the bat. 2 of those right off the bat. Did we get anybody else on that list? Nothing too bad. We're good.
Drew Aller, huh?
That's what I said.
Okay. Didn't we do this about 6-7 years ago with a Penn State quarterback in the preseason?
Probably. Arch Manning, by the way, is on that list behind Arizona State's Sam Leavitt.
Okay.
I know.
That kid's good, but there's college good and there's NFL draft pick good.
I really hate that Cade Klubnik figured it out. Threw for 3,639 passing yards, 36 touchdowns, and only 6 picks. Damn it, man. You really did kind of figured it out, didn't you? I had to go double check the numbers. I was like, he had a good year last year, really good year last year. And then I went and click. Ooh, he was really, really good. He, first round of the college football playoff, threw for 336 yards and 3 touchdowns against Texas. That would classify as good. And he is considered by some to be the way too early 2026 mock draft number 1 pick. Of course, we can't know what Carson Beck is coming off of injury. You look at the overall measurables, 6'4", 225, big arm. We'll see.
Get a good indicator out the gate when they take on Notre Dame.
I didn't realize Drew Aller, by the way, is 6'5", 240.
Maybe that's why they put him up there.
That's a big man. And, he had, he threw 3,327 yards, 24 touchdowns, 8 picks. But yet, don't you like Klubnik more?
I do.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We aren't operating in a system where our quarterback will be on any of these lists anytime soon.
No, but again, it's just the uniform too. I think Penn State, I don't think quarterbacks. It's Ohio State even has the stigma of, now they recently with CJ Stroud.
I was going to say CJ worked out.
I mean, look, it was the talk. Well, okay, that's wonderful. They have a lot of quarterbacks who win a lot of college football games.
Oh,
they do.
Yeah, they do. Mm-hmm.
But even the mighty Justin Fields, for all the hype.
And we'll see what he ends up being. Obviously, he's got his chance now to be the guy.
The Jets
again. So it's well, you're going through. I'm blown away. The Packers going to release Jair Alexander, Jair Alexander getting released today by the Packers. My brain is going towards football. Last night did that. Laid my head on the pillow, started thinking about FSU football, thinking about what we're going to be, what we need to be, what has to happen. You and I had a conversation on the golf course last week about record and what would you consider, what would suffice for us to feel good again about Mike Norvell? Because the whole fan base is asking that question out loud, and they're asking it more and more, and it'll get louder and louder because they're asking it. Baseball is over. There's one more thing to think about, and that is getting to July, the ACC kickoff, and football is kind of all-consuming at that point.
It's not the NCAA Outdoor Championships in Eugene, Oregon?
It is not.
Okay.
It is not. It's that. It's that thing, and that thing first and foremost.
I tried, Mario. The problem is today was supposed to be day one of the visit for Keyshawn Henderson to be on campus. Of course, that was canceled last week.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the tiebreaker Mike Stay's chip in the poker game.
Oh, yeah, that was an added
game.
bonus, right? Like, 7-5, but we got the number one quarterback coming in. Right.
Yes.
Or not number one, but yeah.
Top three.
Right.
Something we don't see in these parts anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that would have been enough for a tiebreak at 7-5, I think. Now it's just about give me clarity. I think that was our discussion last week.
That's what it was.
I'm just begging for clarity. One way or the other. I'm not rooting for us to lose. I'm just rooting for us to be clear. No more limbo. 2025 has to be a year where we put those glasses on. You ever see those videos of people seeing color for the first time and they weep?
Oh, it's touching, yes.
I want that to be us.
You want to weep?
I want to weep.
You want to feel the clarity necessary to make the big decisions?
I either want to see green, as in time to invest once again, or I want to see pink.
I don't want to see that green.
Or pink, as in the slip. No, invest, in the future in a good way.
Sorry,
Positive.
I thought you meant invest in a new coach. I don't want us to have to start over. No.
Pink slip would be the other color. I just want to know.
Yeah, I seem to be a pretty straightforward guy on this front. If they go 7-5, you fire them. I don't care how it looks. 7-5, you're gone. You can argue in the NIL era that to make that leap, to say that definitively is a mistake on my part. Because, and here's what I mean. I don't know. Lots of the teams on our schedule may not look anything like I think them to be as I sit here today. That's possible because teams bring in, like Virginia, brought in a new quarterback. You bring in things that change the face of your program, change what you can be. Ask Arizona State. All of a sudden you realize, oh man, goodness gracious, they're much better than I would have projected them to be. So if Florida State's schedule turns out that there are 6 really good teams because of changes they've made, and I haven't factored that in instead of just the 4 that we're thinking about now, all right, then I would have to adjust whatever that number is that I think is the full stop, you're fired. We're not talking about anything anymore because the number is the number. It does change. It is more malleable than it used to be.
Well, chances are, though, it's going to be an ebb and a flow. One of the teams of the 4 that we assume are going to be
won't
the power
be nearly
teams,
as good.
No, by the time we get to that game week, we'll be thinking to ourselves, I know what the preseason looked like, but Beck doesn't even have an arm. So they're going to have to throw underneath the entire game. There'll be some mitigating circumstance like that.
Yeah.
Or Florida has checked out because it was a nice story last year, but they really needed to push through this year, and they didn't. And even Lagway looks to be pouting on this. There are always things that crop up like that.
No, you can never know.
That change the nature of things. So I'm sure there'll be one game that's tougher than we think right now. It could be Virginia Tech. And then there's a game that we think is going to be tough that, could be Florida or Miami. And it really feels like the 2 in-state schools are the candidates to be the game that is a little bit more gettable than we're thinking right now in the second week of June.
I feel like, I guess the Carson Beck thing is all Mario Cristobal has done a very good job when you look at going back to the winter window. They got deeper, more talented in the spring as well. They brought in that safety in the corner. They've got, obviously, the quarterback. That figures to be a really good team. If they're not as good, I think I would find that stunning. I'd be less stunned, Tom, if Alabama continues to look, by Alabama standards, pedestrian. I'd be more stunned if this sounds weird, but I'd be more stunned if Miami were to really falter. He's done a good job on the roster. They got money. They got a ton of money. But it's not just the quarterback. They got a lot of talent that they've brought in to bolster on both sides of the ball. They ought not, even if his arm's not right and you got to go to a back, you got to go to somebody else. There's all kinds of talent on that roster.
Sure. But I mean, you're setting them up to, be able to smile again because, I mean, by rights, should they have won 8 games last year? You think that's fair?
Miami?
Yeah. They ended up winning 9.
Yeah, they won 9.
I think 8 is probably fair between
the Cal game and the Virginia Tech game.
Yeah, you split those.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. So you lose probably 4 games last year, and I'd argue it's a better quarterback. The better one just left.
Yeah. More consistent. That's the biggest thing.
Veteran receiver, and it's going to be a tough running back act to follow as well.
Martinez was a stud.
Yeah.
Well,
they got to hope their secondary is they're reporting it. I'm seeing the reporting down there. The story behind the overhaul of Miami's secondary. Well, if that's real, then that changes things.
They brought a safety in a corner, and that's what they did because they were tired of. I mean, that side of the ball cost them everything. They didn't even, as we well know, didn't even make the ACC championship game. So that was a very costly offseason. Not, for all that you sank into the offensive weaponry to not even make it.
If it was a 3-team jamboree in Charlotte, they might have been there. I don't know what the tiebreaker. I don't know what the tiebreakers look like. They might have been. They might not have been. But it's not a 3-team jamboree.
A jamboree. It's Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
5 people are taken into custody and transported to Leon County Jail on Thursday following an immigration raid at a construction site on Gain Street at the new student housing development, the Perla. Since then, 2 have bonded out of jail on resisting arrest without violence charges before ICE could place the hold on them. The other 3 people remain in custody. The federal authorities are actively pursuing the subcontractor responsible for employing any of the illegal workers. On Thursday, more than 100 people were detained during the raid. Some of the detainees are from Guatemala, Mexico, Nicaragua, Colombia, El Salvador, and Honduras. Some of the detainees were previously deported, while others had criminal backgrounds. More than 50 Florida Highway Patrol troopers were seen assisting with the raid Thursday, during which people were seen being lined up and zip-tied or handcuffed. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
Now, here's your Paul's Termite and Pest Control Tallahassee weather report.
An active pattern ahead for this week with showers and storms in the forecast each day, continuing with the hot and humid conditions as well. High temperatures in the lower 90s. Of course, the heat index feels like temperature much higher. Tonight, a 40% chance of showers and storms, low of 75. Tuesday, partly sunny, 70% chance of showers and storms, high of 91. Wednesday, a 70% chance, high of 92. From Real Talk 93.3, this is Danielle Kelly.
For the elimination of termites, pests, and for a greener lawn too, call Paul's. They'll get them all.
What do you need tires on? Your car or truck, tractor or heavy equipment? At Nice Tire and Auto Service, we have tires for all of these needs. And we service your vehicle from air conditioning and computerized alignment to oil changes and everything else under the hood. Call Nice Tire and Auto today at 574-4100. That's 574-4100 for your scheduled maintenance. National accounts welcome at Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, just west of Capitol Circle.
Not all heroes wear capes. Some wear grass-stained sneakers, carry a lunchbox to work, and show up day after day with quiet strength. This Father's Day, Real Talk 93.3 and the law offices of Basic Brooks are looking for the real dads, and one of them will win the Ultimate Dad Prize. Free tickets to see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a free round of golf for 4, and a well-earned steak dinner, thanks to Basic Brooks. If you know a dad who's given everything for his family, a father, a husband, friend, nominate them. Tell us what makes him great. His story could win him the Ultimate Dad Prize he truly deserves. Submit your entry now at realtalk93.com, and we'll announce the winner live on the air Friday, June 13th. Let us know who you think should be crowned as the 2025 Real Dad.
Now, here's your Paul's Termite and Pest Control Tallahassee weather report.
Real Talk 93.3 and the law offices of Basic Brooks are looking for the real dads, and one of them will win the Ultimate Dad Prize. This Father's Day, Real Talk 93.3 and the law offices of Basic Brooks are looking for the real dads, and one of them will win the Ultimate Dad Prize. Free tickets to see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a free round of golf for 4, and a well-earned steak dinner, thanks to Basic Brooks. If you know a dad who's given everything for his family, a father, a husband, friend, nominate them. Tell us what makes him great. His story could win him the Ultimate Dad Prize he truly deserves. Submit your entry now at realtalk93.com, and we'll announce the winner live on the air Friday, June 13th. Let us know who you think should be cro
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
So the big news over the weekend wasn't just that we fell last night to end the baseball season. It was, of course, that recruits were in town. We'll see what momentum is derived from that, but also now the settlement is finally through in college sports, and it changed forevermore. We talked about a lot of that in the first hour, some in the second. And it's starting on July the 1st that each school will now have, not required to, but will have the ability to spend $20.5 million in new payments to their athletes. Who stands to make the biggest check of the $20.5 that Florida State is going to write? Castellanos?
Well, it kicks in next year, but for argument purposes, for this year?
Yeah, I'm just having fun with it applying now.
Yeah, it's Tommy C.
Yeah.
Gotta be.
Yeah. Small guy, that's the main thing I worry about. He's got to stay healthy. You know, I don't worry about him not being a great passer. I don't worry about him being, limited. I worry about his size. He's not a big guy, and they're going to need to run the hell out of him for this whole thing to work right. And so you hold your breath that it's all going to pan out. Who went above and beyond is the weekend discussion. Let's see, Tom, where do I want to go?
Above and beyond. Above and beyond.
Above and beyond.
Above
and beyond.
I don't know where I'm going with this. Is it Jamie Arnold on Saturday?
Could be, especially after throwing 29 pitches in the first inning.
Yeah, I'll tend to lean on Jamie here because I thought it took real guts to battle through. Well, guts might not be the right word. Patience, sort of a stick-to-itiveness and an understanding of situation, and to do it in that environment, Tom, with your season on the line after what had happened the night before, to give 6 2/3 when you're sitting there looking at 60 pitches through 3 innings, that's doing some things. He knew he needed to get deep, and he set the stage for some of the heroics late that we all got excited about that forced last night's game. So I would say that my above and beyond VR.com player of the weekend was Jamie Arnold.
I'm going to go with the French Open final for the men.
Ooh, Alcaraz.
That is something that I sadly only watched maybe about 45 minutes of in total because the baseball was so compelling.
Mm-hmm.
But I had it up on the computer screen when I saw that Alcaraz had won the third set and then the fourth set. And oh my God, this is turning into one of those days where we used to call each other 15 years ago for, I remember Roddick Federer was one. Of course, there's a classic Nadal and Federer, but there's probably 4 or 5 that happened in about a 5 to 6 year span in Grand Slam tennis. And it was riveting. And the world stops when those finals go into a third hour, and a fourth hour, in this case, a fifth hour. That was the last 45 minutes that I watched was breathtaking, and Alcaraz could not miss. He couldn't miss.
So he faced 2 match points. I mean, you get past that, and the fact that at one point, it was a 3 match points, 2 or 3. He down love 40 and down a break. I know that, and then he also had the 2 match points that he fought off.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
but he's down love 40. Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
In the third.
Yeah, he was in deep trouble. He was about to get swept. That's doing some things, and I loved it. And it was also Coco Golf, man, an American finally. First time nearly a decade that we've had an American winner in Paris. So,
and she rallied. She lost the first set.
Roland Garros, and then she got it. I watched all of that, by the way. Really desperately wanted her to win. Also, that puts her in a unique category because she now has 2. And so now I feel like you're unburdened. Lots of people kind of fool around and get lucky and win 1. It's so much harder to win multiple majors,
especially when you become the darling of a couple of weeks of a fortnight, as they say, for Wimbledon.
Yes,
because that happened in the U.S. Open. It's happened in Wimbledon. I think it's happened in the Australian for her as well, where there's just these compelling matches and people latch onto you as the fan favorite. But then if you don't deliver, you're just Ricky Fowler, and you're not somebody to be taken seriously in the major setting. But Coco has graduated from Ricky Fowler to somebody who should be taken seriously in the major setting.
Yes, and her emotion was real, and she has said one of the things I like about her is she has not shied away. I get annoyed when I hear players not embrace the moment and not embrace the expectation. She said, quote unquote, I want to be the greatest. My dad told me I could be when I was 8 years old. You know, it's cool that she went on. You know, she talks about, you never know what's going to happen. I want to believe it. I need it to happen. Well, good. Go chase that. I mean, good luck trying to be the greatest. There are a few names to catch in a short amount of time to get there. But that's 2. So there we go. Not going to catch Serena.
No, probably not.
Not going to catch Serena. So I'm glad that you want to be, but you're not going to catch Serena. You're not going to catch Martina. You're not going to catch Steffi. So maybe the 4th. Could you get to? I mean, could Chris
just be the best player of your generation? That's what you're shooting for.
Chris Everett has 18 major championships. I don't think you're going to get there either. That's a lot, man. Anyhow, no, she made me smile when she said that, and I love that she did. So yeah, good job. You're going to take Alcaraz as you're above and beyond. Listen, 30-plus properties. Let's make it happen.
I'm flashing all of these up on the screen. You've seen them for several minutes. These are 4-night prices in July. You want to do a Monday through Friday family vacation trip down to Clearwater, Dunedin. You're talking about, again,
look at that.
4-night prices.
I'm looking at the bungalow right there, buddy.
All in. Several
Private
of the properties
deck.
under $1,000 for 4 nights. This is before the 10% discount. $1,000 for a Monday through Friday stay, either on the water in Clearwater or near downtown Dunedin. A lot of great options.
10% off using the promo code JCS. Go to aboveandbeyondvr.com or call 727-253-5995. Look at that one right there, that beach cottage. Right on the water. Forget about it.
800 bones for 4 nights. That's nuts.
Doing some things. Use the promo code JCS. And again, no middlemen here. This is Knowles helping Knowles. Don't worry about it. Good to go. No VRBO fees or anything like that. Use the code JCS to save 10%. That's 727-253-5995 or aboveandbeyondvr.com. We'll come back, wrap it up momentarily.
Porterman, you're walking crooked again. What happened to you?
Well, I was sitting at the boat ramp sipping on a margarita when my alligator Hank decided we needed to go water skiing.
Oh, no.
Next thing you know, Hank's strapped to 4 skis and I'm hanging on his back and the boat is pulling us out. It was all going great till Hank spotted a duck in the lily pads and wanted to jump the wake.
Porterman, you're crazy. No wonder you got hurt.
Yep, 1 second it's air, water, air, then bam, now I can't even bend over to put on my own water skis.
Well, Porterman, you better get over to Thin Chiropractic right now. You can book an appointment online and take advantage of the new patient special.
Special offer online? That's easier than wrestling an airboat off a sandbar.
That's right. Just go to thinchiro.com. FENNCHIRO.com. FENNCHIRO.com.
That's it. I'm headed over there boogity to get straightened out.
This is Thomas Dickens from the Law Office of Marie Maddox. I'm a combat veteran and a former JAG. I've fought for our country, and now I fight to get you your back wages. If your boss has ever shorted your paycheck or withheld your overtime, you need to call me now. 850-383-4800. 850-383-4800. Or find us online at maddoxlaw.com. Offices in Tallahassee.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code YEAR to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code YEAR for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code YEAR for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Tom, I need you to teach me how to cheat the system.
I thought you were going to say Dougie.
That's funny. No, I want to know how to do the thing where you have a different IP address or something so you can watch your team. You can watch your team play even though they're blacked out. The Pirates shouldn't be blacked out tonight, right? At home against the Marlins?
Yeah, you will be.
Why?
Because it's available on Bally Sports or FanDuel Sports Marlins.
That's a running kick to the balls.
You're in their market. That's what MLB says. You're in the market.
It's awful. I don't like it. So I need a cheat. I need a workaround.
I can give you the login that I have to my TV service, which does have these. I told you I was canceling this month, remember?
Yeah.
And so I was following through on that request, and they told me that keep it for like $5. I was like, okay, for 1 month. And I said, sure, done. So that's good because the Mets play the Rays this Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Well,
gives me the chance to watch them on my TV service.
Pirates play the Marlins tonight. Tom.
So there you go. You're covered.
All right. Cool. Send it along.
That's our show for this week.
That'll do it. Cue it up, sir. Let's get to probables. Make it happen.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
Marlins Pirates, Larry Perez, Mike Burrows, who shockingly was good the last time he pitched for the Buccos. Come on, Buccos. Reds Guardians, Wade Miley and Luis L. Ortiz, former Pirate. Cubs Phillies, Matthew Boyd, Zach Wheeler. Boy, the Cubs are good, huh?
They are, but I'll tell you what, if you were to bet against them the next 20 games, I think you come out with a 60% clip.
Just straight up bet the other team?
Yes, because they've been getting fat on some easy scheduling. It's about to get a little tougher on the Cubbies. Doesn't mean they're not a good team. It just means that it's going to even out.
All right. Well, it's Matthew Boyd and Zach Wheeler in that matchup tonight. Rays Red Sox, Shane Baz, Brian Bello. We got the Braves and the Brewers. Oh, my God. Atlanta. We have a problem. You are 10 games under 500 in Atlanta. 27-37. Woo-hoo-hoo. Chris Sale goes for the Braves. The Brewers will throw Aaron Savali. Blue Jays, Cardinals, Jose Barrios, Andre Palante. A's, Angels, TBD, and Mariners, D-backs, Emerson Hancock going for the Mariners. Merrill Kelly goes for the D-backs. Go see my accountant, Merrill. Dodgers, Padres, Dustin May, and Nick Pivetta. That is a look at those that shall reside on the bump. Oh. Kind of fun to do that. It works perfectly.
I had the timing. I do have a musical ear.
That one caught me off guard. I understood the other one. You nailed the one with the Braves. Sweet Jesus, Bravo fans. Tough times at 27-30.
The things that they went through last week.
A lot of tough losses.
Well, no, I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I had flashbacks to watching a lot of Mets baseball over the decades. Ooh, they're having a week.
They did have a week and a lot of moments in the ninth.
It's like when a Californian sees the East Coast have an earthquake and they say, ooh, that one was legit.
Yeah.
That was actually a legit one. That's how I felt. Ooh, that was bad.
Well, nobody's losing sleep for the Braves. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Good work out of you, sir. Thanks to all of you for watching, tuning in. We always appreciate it. Listening to Tallahassee's only locally owned and operated radio station, 93.3, and on Warchant TV on the YouTube. Until tomorrow, be well, exhale, be all right. Peace.